Howdy, folks, and welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. God damn it, Matt. I'm Joe Truffy, Dungeon Master. This is most evenings, and joining me is Matt and the rest of my friends, Hannah, Alana, and Tina.
It's Matt's
I'm what keeps Duncan
3 sessions in a row. You've messed me up for the intro. Thank you for that. So, welcome to our 5th edition D&D campaign, homebrew campaign. This is session 107. Before we jump into a recap, a couple of announcements. First of all, last night, session 11 of Mosaic Team 5, our Starfinder campaign. Matt, Dan, both there. It's a space western that really follows a team of bounty hunters as they travel across the Milky Way, hunting after bounties, attempting to resolve some of their own loose ends. So that's every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can definitely check that out next week, session 12. We also have a website, alberonrpg.com. It's been pretty heavily updated as of late, although I think I still need to get Brenna's art now that reminds me up there. But there are highlights, there are recaps of much of the story so far, which for this campaign at 107 sessions is quite a bit. There is a written version for most of that, which almost killed me. But there is also links to all of the episodes from about 100 on. So that's alberonrpg.com. There's also a lot of other information, downloadable content, stuff like that. We have Instagram at alberonrpg. I'm going to sneeze. Oh man, I threw my back out too, so that really hurts. Oh boy, that really hurts.
You right?
Oh man, like a little.
walk it off or something.
Yeah, I'll do it, Dan. I'll just walk off. So we also have a bunch of new emotes. I actually posted them in the chat right at the beginning, but they are related to all the different characters. We have Eleanor's Panache. We have Oakfeld's Plant. And then we also have we have Shay's Rage, and we have Aca's Ew. Brenna has Sup Nerd, which is coming probably in about 2 weeks. So that's going to be in there as well. You get all of those for following along, just as a follower, which costs you nothing. And you can use those around Twitch. Let's see. I feel like there was one other cool announcement. I don't think that that's related so much to this, so I'll hold off on that. The last thing that I have to say is we have, for all of our digital sound effects, Sirenscape, which is a digital tool set that lets us play music, orc sounds, dripping pipes, all kinds of things. So definitely check that out. It's a set of software. And we use it a lot. That's all I got to say for announcements. And with that, I can get us right into our recap. That's why I don't play our theme song, because I use it for the recap.
You gotta bring back the non-Mario Party music.
The problem is the jungle
Legally
music.
distinct.
Jungle music
When we
was...
started this campaign on Sirenscape, which is a great digital tool set.
It was
used
a
to be,
fucking banger.
It used to be a slightly better digital tool set because it had a song called Jungle Music, and it was so good. But I think something about it was like not broadcast safe, and so they had to pull it out. Now there's a terrible song in that place.
It was
Anyhow.
so good that it got like put on the radio, so they had to start giving royalties whenever we played it.
Adventures. Last we played, all of you turning on to Honeycomb Alley in Nocturne were ambushed by Gale of Storm, a tabaxi that you have some history with, Eleanor. Actually, quite a bit.
Not anymore.
Your eyes locked across the alleyway, and as you found yourself in an ambush, to my opinion, hopefully hopelessly outnumbered, you engaged in combat with a very, very lucky hypnotic pattern combined with an incredible critical hit.
Oh my god.
Brenna. You turned the tides quite quickly in this combat. Shay, you engaged with 2 of them on your own, keeping them stunned in succession, absolutely ruining one of their days just on his break eating corn. But seeing you handling your own, Eleanor, you were able to join the party as almost everybody engaged in combat in the confines of the Honeycomb Inn. Brenna, with Misty Step activated, you bamfed into the tavern that Gale of Storm was taking cover in. And with the unique battle cry of Sup Nerd, you sliced him nearly in half with a single blow for 60 damage. Aca, you arrived at Brenna's side and seeing the damage already done, impaled Gale of Storm on your artificial arm's thrusting point, killing him instantly. And seeing you all gain the upper hand, a group of Goliath watching from the doorway joined the battle. With their combined might, you were able to finish this group off quickly. Eleanor, you said a quick goodbye to this individual who who we have not heard a lot about, but you knew quite well.
Calico Amir.
Aca, you had known him growing up slightly as Calico Amir. You all left with the Goliath after Brenna made friends with them. Under protest by the one dwarf, one Ocean Reach, who did not trust you quite enough, although the Goliath, very much trusting Brenna right away, brought you to Bricklewort's foundry, an abandoned foundry kind of cross between the Quarter of Law and the Modrock, the Goliath dominated part of the city that you were from. Here in Bricklewort's, you all made your plans to storm the Jade Exchange along the eaves. But before doing that, you decided to resupply, and so Aca, Brenna, the two of you were beginning to turn to go shopping, and that's where we're going to begin for this evening. At Oakfell, we'll clue you in at a certain point. So give me just 1 second here. We have our metal flexing. We got our close strips. We got our distant drips. You have to have both. It's important for immersion. Mm-hmm. So all of you stand now in this large foundry. You can see the 4 huge crucibles, cold, most of them kind of filled in with refuse that's accumulated over the years, fallen elements from the rusted ceiling overhead. There is a lot of water in this space, dripping, running. You have a freshly repaired pipe overhead that had burst thanks to Talon's woe, dousing you all in, I would say, relatively fresh water, having washed through the streets. I mean, you know, accumulating dirt and grime, but not sewage water. Aca, Brenna, are you guys just heading back out into the street, or what are you guys doing?
Probably want to go to one of the magic shops, but there aren't any outside of the Avenue of Everdusk, right?
So, thinking about magic shops outside of the Avenue of Everdusk, you know, Calico Amir's was on the in the Docks district.
Besides Calico Amir.
Just rate them.
I mean, he's
Actually,
not there.
yeah, he's not there. We could try to go pick some logs.
The Kilnsong Forge, which is up in the Quarter of Law, does have an Anacrean dwarf that is able to craft quite nice smithing things. So relating to more weapons, perhaps magical weapons.
Okay.
You've heard of Sarah Until Secondhand, which is a pawn shop that's attached to the dump. And they oftentimes have, you know, things that wash up. Morwen actually once told you that there were magical items there at one point. There is Morwen's Miscellaneous, although that on the Avenue of Everdusk. Closer to the entrance. And then, you know, about the Jade Exchange, which, you know, right smack dab in the...
Probably don't want to head there right
Maybe
now.
avoid that.
Seeing as how your mission is to infiltrate there, yeah, you probably don't want to go shopping first.
It's like the go
Much to your point last week, going into 7-Eleven, buying a Slurpee, pulling a mask on, and going back into the Slurpee in hand. I forgot my straw too.
And Eric's Black Market is also on the Avenue, right?
Eric's Black Market. Give me 1 sec. Yes, Eric's Black Market also on the Avenue.
Okay. Probably would try Kilnsong and then the Sarah Until Secondhand,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. I mean, you're from here, right? So follow you.
I don't remember this, like, quick shortcuts and hidden paths to get to there, do I?
Make a history check. Maybe.
I just imagine all these history checks are not about Nocturnes, but Aca's personal history.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I got some of my memories taken away.
Did.
That's a 16.
Okay.
Aca has been through it.
Yeah, for real. All of your characters, because they just kind of walk into battle and
Yeah.
they definitely see.
Aka's definitely less willing to do it, though, than
Yes, this is
most
true.
other characters.
So the two of you heading out into the streets right now. Are you guys doing anything before leaving?
Nope. It was a 16. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll take whatever a 16 gets me to get there as discreetly and quickly as possible.
Okay. You take some time heading out into the streets, the hallways here echoing with people walking to and fro. At this point, looking around, you would guess you're probably in the afternoon,
Okay.
just based on the flow of traffic here. midway between the Quarter of Law to get to Kilnsong. It's only 2 stories up. With a 16, you remember a pretty quick route that involves going up a number of different public staircases, cutting through. Give me 1 second. Cutting through a little soup shop, and then making your way onto the actual floor itself within the Quarter of Law. Now, one thing that you do notice progressing into this new section of Nocturne, there are actual Serentillian soldiers here. You've actually really not seen almost any of them at this point through your journey, even passing through the kingdom in Port Quinn and Dis.
Thousand Gates.
Thousand Gates is really the only place that you did see them.
Right.
And even there, you saw the Helm's Guard. You saw like other groups that had accumulated.
Right, they were like one of many.
Yes. So, for the first time, you're really seeing them present in one of Serentil's cities. You're seeing people in plate mail, half plate, with the Serentillian Field of Stars kind of on banners, on sashes, things of that nature. These are all very well-kept troops. You can see there are many more of them than any point that you've seen previously in Nocturne in your life, for sure. So make of that what you will. After a little bit, you make your way to Kilnsong Forge. No problem. I'm just pulling notes real quick here. 11 pages of shops I have to go through.
Where there's the Serentil presence,
It's a big city.
does it seem like there's also still the Dawnkeeper's presence, or
Make a perception check.
like trying to see like are they here as a result of this, or are they here working with?
Sure. So you see Aca begin to kind of look around now that you've reached this new area, opening up onto a street, a little bit more natural light. There are like windows actually carved into the metal walls in the exterior of this part of the city.
Perception?
Yeah. And you can see Aca looking around. Is there anything that you're doing, or are you just kind of following for the moment?
I think I'm just following. Does he tell me what he's looking for? And if so, can I help?
Depends. 15.
15.
We will see.
I mean, he stops and looks around, right?
yeah,
I go, what you looking at?
Not a whole lot. Looking around, you see soldiers. You can see just citizens in this part of the city actually dressed a little bit nicer than the docks, for sure.
Okay.
Part of it just being further away from the ocean in the metal halls here. Not as much exposure to the actual elements. You look around at the metal here, not as much rust. Better maintained. No Dawnkeepers that you can see.
Okay. So there's more Serentillian presence here than usual.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do I know what that means?
What Aga would have.
Make a history check.
Aga kind of mentioned that a little bit.
19.
A 19.
Because she had said, like, that the. What's his face that we're with, the Goliath that we're with, were protecting the Modrock from the Dawnkeepers and the Serentillians who had started.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So specifically what you had kind of heard, and hello, the Role Players Guild. What you had heard is there's a number of different factions vying for power now that the Silent Circle seems to have either stepped back, kind of unclear what's going on with them. You've heard from other people that perhaps Brita Dawnkeeper is in with the Silent Circle.
Right. With Jack.
Yes. Yeah, Happy Jack. So you also have heard that there's one of the banners of Serentil that is currently heavily active, trying to keep keep order during this kind of uprising. They're less involved in trying to gain power, it would seem, in the Jade
Just trying to,
Exchange.
like, keep things.
Correct. Okay. And they're there along with the Shade Warden and all the other people who normally keep guard here.
Okay. I would just kind of like mutter that and then keep moving.
No problem. You make your way to the Kilnsong Forge. And here in the depths of this quarter, you can see it's relatively small, this smithy, probably no bigger than maybe 60 feet deep, relatively wide. At one point, maybe several different apartments or houses that have been slowly, like a shop opened up. When people moved out, bought that section. When people moved out, bought that section, kind of expanded over time. And you can see like hallmarks of different styles of construction over the years. But inside, you can see a large glass window that overlooks this kind of subset miniature workshop. And thinking back, having been to Gamble's workshop back in Squall's End, there are some similarities to that in terms of the design. You remember like all the stairways and the walkways. It's like a smaller version of that.
Okay.
In that little subsection, if you want to take a couple steps in and kind of look over and through the window, you can hear that there is work being done. And though the glass is dirty, you can kind of see within. There is a dwarf working over a forge, and the metal, very different looking, dark luster to it. But what do you want to do?
Does it look like my axe, the dark metal?
Make a perception check.
Probably like
Perception. Dirty 20.
So, how much do you know about this axe? Did your friend tell you what it was made of?
No.
Okay.
All I know is that it's made of a dark metal and that it's real light.
When you look at this has to do with the way that the metal is being worked. You can see this material, and having spent some time with dwarves, you know, they've discussed metal techniques with you, and maybe not stuff that you care that much about or would follow, but you can remember specifically the axe that you have. That's a very special material. This seems to be just iron that is being worked in a very specific way. And then, taking a step back and looking around, you can see a whole wall of like nails, horseshoes, like standard blacksmith stuff. There's another wall with daggers, swords, a couple of shields, and all of them have this similar luster. It's almost like a trademark.
I would probably enter.
Yeah. Have we not already entered?
Head in, yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right. So, entering in, you see this individual look up, seeing you through the dirty window, probably just silhouettes. He pulls off these thick leather gloves and walks up the steps around. He peers in and looks at both of you. Welcome to Kilnsong. What can I get for you?
Hey, hi.
He looks over at you, Brenna. That's a huge axe.
I like twirl it a little bit and then proffer it to him to take a look at because he's clearly a kindred
immediately
spirit.
as you like talk, steps by you, picks up the axe, weighs it in his hands. Where'd you get this?
Made by dwarves.
Shit. And he kind of like holds it out. You can see he can like open his hand, and even with the axe head up, it doesn't fall out. It's marvelously light. Well, I don't know what you want, but I can't beat this. He hands it back to you.
We're actually looking for if you had any magical items that might help with not being able to see in the dark.
He looks around. This is a blacksmith shop.
I know.
I don't really do... I've got a sword,
What kind of sword?
a fiery one, but not helpful for what you want.
I say we're making the rounds, so you're our first stop.
Kind of, whatever we can get.
Yeah.
You know, you're not really supposed to be using magic in Serentop, so I would maybe ask a little bit more discreetly.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Right. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah. Nothing else on your list that we need from here?
I mean, everything else on my list is just general stuff.
Okay.
We can...
Can we see the magic fire sword?
Yeah. And he kind of goes up to the door, turns the key, walks back, and descends the steps. You can look through the dirty glass, and you can see he goes to the back of the room and opens up this large, almost like a footlocker. He comes out with this black cloth wraps around a blade, presumably. Mm-hmm. Puts it out on the table, and as he opens it up, you can see this almost like an orange tinge to the metal, and the blade itself clearly elven forged at some point. You can see this beautiful filigree. You speak Elvish, right? So you can see all along, it says dances with flames, and as you flip over, or as he flips over the sword, probably not letting you touch it, you could say falls to ashes. The handle itself curved in such a way that it doubles back into its own handle guard, and the curvature of it, as you turn the sword, you see it almost shifts like an active fire. Although putting it back down, or as he puts it back down, it regains that orangish luster. But he sort of gestures, clearly magic.
May
Make a persuasion check.
19.
It looks like you know what you're doing. Just be careful.
Like,
No. Do you actually do that?
no, check the weight and stuff. See, does it seem like something that I might be able to incorporate, or that might? Because I feel like no one here has need of a sword except for maybe you, but you have your like
got
magic
her flying
movie
rapier.
sword. So
Yeah. Also, if it's not a finesse weapon, then I probably would
Right.
use it anyway.
And this looks like a long sword, maybe a short sword for a very large individual.
okay,
Certainly not a finesse weapon.
okay. How much would you want for this? And I put it back down.
Okay. Kind of puts the wrap over it and looks at you for a second. He's like looking at your armor, trying to make some sense of what you're.
And do I notice him looking at my
yeah,
armor?
yeah, for
I kind of like put my middle arm out to like kind of click the counter, like,
Okay.
you know,
He
just to
looks,
like,
yeah. He looks down and goes, "That's something."
oh, this, yeah.
He kind of looks over it again. Sword forgotten on the table. Where'd you get that?
A friend of mine made it for me after. It's a long story. Probably wouldn't believe it if I told you.
Is it from that gnome in Port Quinn?
No.
Oh. Well, I've never seen anything
Dragonborn.
like it. I don't
Dwarvish.
think you're going to find anything here that's really going to help you.
Wrong, maybe. Well, how much for the sword?
I could part with it for 3,500 gold.
Jeez.
You have
Brenna
to
goes,
understand, this is risky
that
selling
makes
something
sense.
like
It's
this.
very fine
I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we cannot do that because I am poor. So, thank you.
If you're poor, you should really try Sarentil secondhand. That
That's
might be.
Yeah, we're
our
going there
next
next.
stop.
Nice
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
Can I look? I like this guy. So can I look around? Does he have any sort of like general adventuring stuff, like rope
Yeah,
or
yeah, oh,
torches?
yeah, there's rope. There's a couple other things that you could probably find. Certainly manacles.
I would like to give this man my business, and so I ask him. You know, I like pull out my little list of what the Goliath asked me to get, and I read it off to him, and so I ask him. You know, while we're here, can I get a length of rope, some manacles, and 4 torches?
4 torches. That's a lot. All right, 1 second. And he goes into the back.
Buy 4, get 1 free.
Pulls out some torches. Pulls out how many sets of manacles do you want?
Oh gosh, he didn't say. Do it. I mean, I don't know.
Buy 4, get 1 free.
Let's go with 4 also.
It's a reasonable set of manacles.
I have no idea why he asked me to get them.
They
so-
also come in a 6-pack. They're for binding.
This is kind of a strange assortment. He gets back with all this stuff, but
Yeah, it's
2 gold and 5 silver pieces will get it for you. Call it 2, or yeah, call it 2 gold.
great. Thank you.
Do you... I can cover that because I imagine that you don't.
I pull out a very full sack of gold that I've been carrying around with me since you met me, and I fish out 2 gold coins and then like tuck it away again.
kind of like
Do you want anything? I'm buying.
good. No, I'm thanks. No. I actually have like a decent amount of gold at this point in my life, but it was hard earned.
I rolled well
Literally died for
when
it.
I created Brenna and Joe decided how much money she had.
Yep.
Most of it is from Shay being like, "How much is a banana?
Here's $4
78
million.
platinum pieces."
It's a banana. How much could it be? $10. So, yeah, no problem. You get all those things.
All right.
Well,
Onward.
thank you for your business. Thank you.
I just kind of take
like,
Aca by the hand and I'm like, thank you, and
Of course, you're welcome.
lead him out.
I love Brenna and Aca as a duo.
Yeah, you definitely see it. Like goes to the window and watches you guys leave. It's very.
I wave enthusiastically.
Moves back. Mostly confused about Aca.
I'm just kind of like,
Not an uncommon reaction.
Sure. So meanwhile, back at Brickleworts, what are the rest of you guys doing? Are you guys just hanging out and waiting, or is there any kind of active planning that you're doing?
I think at this point, I would just be kind of making small talk, like just awkward small talk
Great.
with people. Just be like, so, what do you guys do around here when it's not like this?
Oh, well, when we're not fighting a war, usually we're fighting beasts and such from the Underdark in the arena, and, well, you know, things of that nature. Anyhow.
Filling space.
Yeah, there you go. Brenna and Aca, where are you guys going next?
Sarentil secondhand?
Let's do it.
Go.
Yeah. Don't know how we're gonna get anything that's gonna help you see
not me.
magically besides, well, not you, sorry.
Eleanor,
without going to the place that,
Well, maybe we can be just like a little more subtle this time.
yeah, but I mean, like, if we're trying to get magical items in Nocturne, we should really be going to the Avenue of Everdusk, but by going to the Avenue of Everdusk, we would probably be killed.
Let's try our luck here first and then reassess.
Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky. We'll see. There's like one other place we could try, but yeah. Okay.
Second hand store.
No problem.
Second hand store.
You make your way down several streets. You guys are already in the Quarter of Law. This is just 2 stories down. You can find what is essentially like a very primitive elevator that's basically been attached to this water wheel on the exterior of Nocturne that powers a bunch of other machinery. But as a sort of people noticed over the years, hey, we could use this as a rising and falling platform and just kind of secured some stuff to it.
Fancy.
So you guys take one of these, descend a level, make your way out and across to this kind of narrow alleyway. And you remember Morwen describing it to you, the only way that you could really find it. But eventually you come to a sign painted on wood, just suspended over what looks like any other like maintenance doorway. And it says Sarentil's second hand. The E's, all 3 of them, in the wrong direction, and written quite large. Down a set of stairs, you can see just lights, flickering torches, perhaps. You can hear maybe water running off in the distance. You guys going down?
Yeah.
Cool.
Is there any significance to the 3 E's going backwards and larger? Like,
I just assumed it was like
was
written
it like
a child
like,
would write
well, is it like hidden within that a
Make an
symbol
insight
or
check.
something?
Make an insight check.
24.
Yes. So hidden within, the person who wrote this, there's a little bit of a subtle nod to the fact that they probably aren't great at spelling.
Oh.
And as you look at the writing, you remember Morwen had told you this was run by she actually didn't get a good look at her, either a giant, like an actual giant, or a half giant perhaps, who communicated through a little window along with another gentleman who seemed to help her out.
Okay.
Probably written by her, and you got the sense based on Morwen's description, not the brightest, but she tries.
Okay.
So you make your way down these creaky steps, and as you go down, the humidity rises, the temperature drops just a little bit. You hear dirty water, and you can now see it kind of running off. As you get to the bottom, you reach what is pavement at a slight angle, and dirty water runs off on the left and the right, almost in these like makeshift gutters. But looking, you can tell over time the current of the water has carved these out. It's kind of run off and disappear into the metal below.
Okay.
There is a doorway right in the middle of both of those. Maybe little. Give me 1 second here. There is a doorway that you can see, metal, thick iron, with a little slot. The slot, you can see like a tiny little bit open, hasn't been fully shut. You see movement going on, and you can actually feel this kind of heavy footsteps. The water, even on the ground, ripples a little bit. Over this weird little door, you can see in much brighter paint Sarantill's second hand. This one probably attached more recently.
Okay. Go knock on the door.
Okay.
Or, I mean, it seems
we
like
can probably just
seems
go
like a
in,
knock
'cause
on the
it's a
door. No, I think it's the slot, right?
Yeah, so you
Oh,
knock
right.
on the
Metal.
door, you
Okay.
give it a little tug, doesn't move. But then you hear this two big footsteps. The first one feels like it's maybe 30 feet off, the second one right in front of the door. And you just hear this like grunting, and then the door, little slot comes aside. You see one huge eye. Welcome to Second Hand. What are you looking for?
Hey, we were wondering
Can I get a?
if you had anything that would help our friend see in the dark, either by mechanical or perhaps magical means.
You see, like the huge head crane, this thick, dark black hair spills out across. You just hear, looking for sight things. And you just hear, yes, just a second. You hear just like pacing around behind. Give me 1 second here.
Say things. As he turns away, Brenna just is like, good job.
Yep.
Comes back. You see the eye again just reappear. Have this. The eye disappears, and you see pinched between two little fingers a little glass bottle. You can see the fingers turn, and it just swishes around. And as it does, little, almost like color shifting glitter, although it seems to almost like apparate from the outside of the bottle and then disappear, fading off. This turns you into animals. Some animals see in dark.
Okay. And how much for this vial?
We don't need it.
How much? And you just hear from the back, that's 200 gold, and don't let them talk you down this time, please. It's 200 gold. Please don't talk me down this time.
I haven't talked you down.
Do we need a potion that turns?
So, 100 gold for the vial?
Make a deception check. You can make it an advantage.
Deception? 18?
18. Yes.
All right. Well, that's good for me.
In the background, you hear, try to sell the bag. And you see the eye open up and go, oh, you want to buy bag?
What kind of bag?
Footsteps disappear off into the side and then reappear. She comes up. The eye comes up and you see this bag. The eye disappears back a little and the bag stretches open. She says, reach into bag. Reach into bag. The whole door vibrates a little.
Oh, jeez, okay.
You reach into this bag. Roll a D100, please.
Oh my god.
Oh, nice.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's always fun when you roll a D100.
This is like a haggard canvas sack. This is not a magical looking bag.
That's not what I thought it was going to be.
37.
37. As you reach into the bag, there are two things that strike you. First, it is way larger on the inside than it should be. You've reached into bags like this before. Although unlike the handy haversack, this seems larger. The second thing, your hand closes around sand. You kind of stir it around for a little bit, and then the sand starts to move. And as you pull your hand out, it's just covered in like relatively small, no way magical or especially harmful ants. Run-of-the-mill, black carpenter ants. You just kind of shake them off.
Bag of ants.
Bag of endless bugs. We've had it for a long time, and they keep coming out. 50 gold.
So
100 gold. 100 gold.
okay, so 100 gold for the bag and the potion.
Make a deception check at disadvantage.
What are you gonna do with a bag full of bugs?
I don't know.
Just a bag of ants.
Bag of bugs.
Endless bugs that escape.
Ooh, okay. I got a 14 and a 15, so deception, that's a 15. Flash of genius.
Oh my goodness.
You can see at first the eyes look confused. You see for the first time the brow ridges, both eyes try to make it into the slot, unable to do so. Looks a little bit confused, and then as you say, so like 100 for both, you're like, she goes, yeah.
Here you go. Thank
Takes
you.
100. You can add it's called the sack of endless bugs, but what it is as you like kind of explore it a little bit more, it's a bag of holding. Somebody has an ant colony in it, and so you have at the moment roughly a 50% chance of pulling out ants. That will go down.
Is there other stuff in it, or I would have to look, right?
Yeah, but you know, maybe there's definitely sand. And you can also add a potion of polymorph.
Just
Nice.
a free bag of holding that we just obtained.
All right.
They've had that there for so long, and the bugs just keep crawling out. And it's like, we need to sell this. It's clearly worth something.
All right.
There's endless bugs in it.
Well, I think that about does it for us. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you for coming. And you see just one little finger like goes through, and as it does, the metal like through. Just kind of shakes your hand.
Yeah.
This is the most adorable shopping trip I've ever been on.
Let's get out of here
Yeah.
quick before she realizes.
Go, 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 go.
You make your way up the steps, and before too long, you make your way back out and into the streets of Nocturne.
Pocket the potion. I'll look at that later to see if I can like synthesize it or something. Or replicate more of it.
Oh, right, Artificer.
And then, so this technically, I mean, she wasn't wrong. Some animals can see in the dark.
Do we know anything about like exactly what the potion does? Just by looking at it.
Make an Arcana check. You're good.
Like what I want to ask is like, well, how long does it last? You know, stuff. Yeah.
Give me a moment.
Just think for a second.
20. 32.
32. You take this potion out. You take a look at it and give it a swirl. As the little bits of color apparate off the bottle, first of all, this is certainly a potion of polymorph, and it works just like the spell. The only difference being, upon drinking it, you can willingly choose to fail the save, presuming you know what it is. Otherwise, like normal, there is a save made against a DC 15, not especially high.
Okay.
But it's a potion.
Okay.
Can you? I don't. Can you pick the animal that you turn into? Because I don't know.
No. So presumably it's going to be somewhat random. Hard to tell. You haven't used this potion.
This is a
There's no
very cool potion.
instructions. Yeah.
I don't think Eleanor is going to be on board with it.
Probably not. It's not the most reliable solution.
Is there anywhere else we can look before we go back that won't get us murdered?
Reliably not get us murdered? No.
Yeah.
Like, less chance of us getting murdered? There's one place that might, and I might have an inn, but...
Not filling me with confidence here, bro.
Well, you know how we had some other companions in the Feywild right before we met you, but then they got lost forever?
Depressing, yes. Got it.
One of them has a shop that may have something that could help us. We can check it out. It's right on the border of the Avenue of Everdusk, so we're getting dangerously close.
I like our chances.
Technically not inside.
Let's go check it out.
Okay.
And Brenna strides off in the direction she thinks it is.
Okay.
Is it the correct direction?
Unknown.
I like grab you on the shoulder and like this way.
And with a little bit of a correction, you guys were off on your way back to the Avenue of Everdusk.
Trying to get to Morwin's Miscellaneous as discreetly as
It's
possible.
right at the entrance, so honestly, it's one of the areas that's easier to get to.
Right.
It is still in the Avenue of Everdusk,
Yeah.
so we'll come
Trying
back.
to be as discreet as possible, like
So
probably
discreet.
pull my cloak up, like make myself not. Ooh, actually, maybe just well, this would help for getting us not there, but I'll wait until we get closer.
Okay.
And then I might pop a spell.
Okay.
I also have
Oakville.
one that I might be able to use.
For you, as you were ambushed in this alleyway, the person had mentioned this tabaxi that it was easy to set this trap because they had such a willing spy, referring to you. After this, for sort of my own storytelling reasons, and assuming that Oakfeld would have some feelings about this, Oakfeld, you wandered off,
Yeah.
kind of disappearing off into the city. Where would you go?
I'd probably walk towards the sun,
Okay.
and then I'd probably see what I can find. Maybe some parts of the city that have maybe more inclination to nature, like maybe like a park or something like that, or...
Make a perception check.
Okay. An 11 plus 8, 19.
Okay, that's pretty good. You close your eyes. Here in the walled city of Nocturne, there is no sun in many parts, especially the Avenue of Everdusk, that name being quite literal. The dusk-like feeling stemming from the many paper lanterns suspended overhead, casting beautiful peaches, roses, all these different soft pastel colors along the ground. But as you close your eyes, being a treant, truly at heart, for anybody watching especially close, they would see elements of the brown hair lift and sort of shift slightly to the west as you feel the sun, connected in a way that you haven't in some time. You turn, you begin to walk. You follow the smells of nature, very few and far between here. But before too long, you find your way to the salty, slightly more fresh air of the Three-Tide Accord district, or what was formerly theirs. Now just the docks. What are you doing there?
I'm probably going to think to myself,
I feel more complete as I face the goddess of the sun.
and I'm going to just kneel and pray for a bit, and then get up, and then realize that in this like obsession to like search out for the sun, I am now alone,
Sure.
and I'm feeling a little bit like a kid who's like lost in like a Walmart.
Not a sponsor.
Fantasy Walmart.
Never a sponsor.
And I'm just gonna look around, and I'm going to sort of just take in all of humanity, and just like never really seen like a glimpse of like people just shopping at this moment. Like I've seen people like go around and do their business and stuff, but I've never really actually like stopped and looked and like see how people go about their days. And I think, wow, they're very, very different, but not so different from my people.
Yeah, in ways, as you look around, you can see the crowd bustling, humans, Goliath, Orc, many of them here actually. Though they look a lot different than the people from the Feywild, and especially from the Mountain of Endless Harvest, from which you once presided. There is a similar energy, people going about, people helping each other. You can see families moving across the docks at this time of day, getting closer to the evening now, looking for dinner. You can smell food out in the many carts here, frying, baking. And there are similarities, certainly.
I think I'm going to possibly go up to one of these food carts
Sure.
and probably just buy something, just. But then realizing I have no money, I'm gonna get out of the line. And now understanding the concept of money.
Hey,
And realizing maybe there's something I can do in this world where I can feel normal, So I look for something that's maybe like someone gardening or something like maybe just like someone just trying to like, arrange some sort of like flowers in a shop or something.
okay. Make a perception check.
A 9 plus 8. 17.
9 plus 8. I mean, you're here in the docks. You look around, you see out beyond the wood and beyond the sails, ocean, a blue expanse upon which very little green thrives. You see the wooden docks, crates being transported, people selling things. Most of the greens that you see sort of beneath bits of fried fish and other kind of devices. You don't see a lot of gardening happening at the docks. I mean, the closest thing that you really see, you see a few elderly people at the end of one of these piers feeding some seagulls. But aside from that, not a lot of nature interaction here.
I think I'll probably go up to the elderly folk.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you walk up, you see like a trio of elderly people, two old human men, both, gray of hair. One has a much longer beard, the other one's starting to run bald. What are you saying to them?
There's my arm.
Hello, my friends. Am I disturbing you?
You can look, they're holding like bits of bread, they're like feeding these seagulls. They turn, one of them smiles at you kindly. Not at all, are you lost?
I believe that I am lost in many ways. But perhaps I could enjoy this moment with you.
You see one of the other fisher, or the other old man, basically just leans over and goes, he's like 30, you can't baby him. And the guy goes, 30 is still like a child. Yes, you could join us if you wish.
How do you partake with...
And I point to him feeding the bird.
You can see the other guy like elbows him and goes, see, I told you. And he just goes, it's okay, he's just different. Here, and he gives you a handful of, it's like stale bread, little bits of green around the edges. Just give this to them. Feed them.
Yeah, I'm gonna just throw a couple little pieces to
Yeah.
the birds.
All across the pier, and suddenly there are seagulls just kind of flocking in, instantly kind of rushed. And with you, almost you see a few of these elderly men step back. There are a few that land on your skin. One lands on your shoulder. In these like this almost leaf-like cloak that you have, like 3 or 4 of them just set down.
It's very Home Alone too with the lady.
Well, sort of, but seagulls are actually pretty large. And you, with your kind of slender 5'8" frame, at a point, they're landing. You're like starting to bow a little. There's like 5 or 6 of these birds on you. Some of them go down, grab little bits of food, come up, you feel bread hit your face as it kind of right up above your ear. Yeah, exactly.
This tickles.
They seem to really like you.
And I like them.
Yeah, I bet you do. Hey.
How do they know to come here every day?
Well, we feed them. Not every day, but most.
You take care of them.
I guess you could look at it like that. Tell me, who takes care of you?
Well, her name is the Green Matron.
That doesn't sound like a name. Does she wear a green dress, young man?
She's shrouded in many different colors. Ones that if you were to even view with your eyes, you would not even perceive.
Make a persuasion check.
Some might say the colors of the wind.
Oh my god.
I miss Oakfield so much.
20.
20.
Dirty 20.
You see the other old man, a little bit balder, walk up wearing lots of shades of brown. You can see bundled up even with the springtime weather. But he comes down to you and he just goes, "The Green Matron, you mean like Melora?"
Yes, you have heard of her.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's one of the six. What's your deal?
I'm just a lost believer in her.
Oh my
Finding
god,
my
you're one
way
of those
to the
religious people. And you can hear the other guy goes, "Just because he is a person of faith doesn't make him any less likable than anyone else. I'm sorry, young man. But those in Sarentil and underneath the church have not always been treated so well."
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You must know about the Church of the Six. Melora is one of them. It's the pantheon of law and light. Melora, Helm, Tyr. Are any of these ringing a bell?
I've encountered these names before, yes.
You can see they exchange glances again, and the guy goes, "Look, no, really, is there somebody we can bring you to? 'Cause we gotta get going." And,
Yes. Could you please bring me back to...
I'm trying to remember the name of the area where we had the battle where I kind of pieced it out before.
that was the Avenue of Everdusk.
Yes, I would like to.
Could you bring me back to the avenue where everything...
No, fuck that. All due respect, that's a dangerous place, young man. You shouldn't travel there alone. Is there a parent or guardian that we can talk to?
Well, I'm not alone. I'm with my friends
And I'm going to point to the seagulls.
and you.
Make an animal handling check.
15 plus 8.
I have to do all the math for you, which is unfortunate.
23. Yes.
Okay. I'm also running this whole game.
Yeah.
With a 23, you can see, I'm not alone, I'm with my friends. You gesture, and you can see both of these birds almost in unison on each of your arms, just flutters their wings. And for a moment, it's like you have these pauldrons of angelic wings, and then just seagulls. You can hear again, like the kind of sound that they make, and he turns and just kind of goes, "Oh, of course you do. Of course you do. But really, is there a home that you live in or some kind of a place?"
Perhaps you could just point me in the direction and I could go with my friends.
"I'm not really comfortable." The other guy goes, "Yeah, so you're going to go down the street. You're going to go right, and then you're just going to follow everybody who looks kind of dangerous and shady. And, just let people know you're looking to get I don't know, you're going to get mugged, kid. You know that, right?" The other guy goes, "He really means that you shouldn't go alone. It's dangerous. There are criminals there."
I have faith that I will be alright.
He stops and he just goes, "Well, I don't have much." But he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out like a letter opener, essentially. It is a dagger, but tiny. Meant for like cutting cheese, little bits of bread, not meant for
It's like an old man's pocket knife.
Yeah, basically. You can see well-worn handle. This is like a beloved item of his. He holds it in one hand and he just goes, "Just don't try to start any trouble, but if somebody tries to hurt you, you should defend yourself, young man. Just don't tell your mother where you got this." And he gives you this dagger.
Oh no, I do not use the tools of the metal.
He takes it back. Very well. Well, good luck, young man.
Thank you.
I'm going to walk off into the direction they told me to go.
Fantastic. You make your way to the Avenue of Everett.
God damn it.
Oh, no.
Keeping a low profile.
Best. High quality time.
Take me back to the place where my friends got attacked.
Aca, Brenna. The two of you make your way to the Avenue of Everdusk and near the entrance. Give me just one moment here.
The whole time I'm like, oh, What was her name? What was her name? The one who... I forget who owns this shop.
And as you look, you're like, I think I know. The sign above the stone wall reads Morwin's Miscellaneous. You can see painted white wood walls on the second and third levels, large glass windows, intricate moldings. You see metal that crosses through the glass to make it seem to be almost hundreds of panes, but the metal has been worked through these beautifully cut holes, perfectly cut for the metal rods, wires, kind of hard to tell. It has almost like a basket weave effect around the glass itself. Outside, seated upon the stool from a distance, you see what looks like somebody employed by Brita Dawnkeeper. You see similar colorations, sigils, the blue attire. At the moment, they're not paying super close attention, sort of more oriented towards the deeper parts of the Avenue of Everdusk, events having been very interesting there just this morning. But at the moment, they stand outside. Every now and then they get up. You can see stretching their legs, moving around. They are wearing full plate mail, and so you'd imagine at this time of year, pretty warm.
Don't want to...
Okay. I got something for this. Okay, so I look, so in the direction that this guard is mostly turning his attention to, is there like a store maybe like 60 feet away or so, some sort of storefront that I can see?
Yeah. Looking about 60 feet away, you can see it's like a little, so at first it just looks like a farmer's market almost. It's like produce and things like that. This being mostly like a black market, you can see signs even at this distance. What languages do you speak actually?
Common, Dwarvish, Gnomish, and Undercommon.
So you speak Dwarvish. They sell raw milk here. That's why that's in the black market. It's illegal even here. However, yeah, you can see that right down there. All these glass bottles lined up behind.
So I'm going to cast Silent Image, which I have as a first level sorcerer.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to create an image of Eleanor exiting that shop. And I believe within the confines of the spell, I can make it look like she's just like hanging out, looking around,
You certainly
doing
can.
a thing. And I'm gonna try and make it so that I make her wander like into his field of vision, but as far away as possible.
I gotcha. I see what you're saying here. Okay.
While we
Yeah.
go in.
Okay. So you see, for a moment, this individual turns. He's about to get up and stretch his legs, and he looks over. What the? No way. He gets up and starts like moving over. If you make the image run, he kind of follows.
Okay.
And for a moment, you guys have an opening to walk into Morwin's Miscellaneous.
Come on.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well done. What is, just out of curiosity, the DC is not 11, correct, for this spell? I assume it's higher than that, but I realize as a level 1 or 2 sorcerer, maybe it's different.
Spell save DC is 14.
14, okay, you're okay. So they chase off after this illusionary Eleanor.
I'm gonna focus on just kind of like making her run around to give us as much time as possible. So I'm gonna leave it to Aca to do the shopping, and I'm gonna concentrate on that.
So
fun
Brenna, as
situation.
this person runs away, takes 3 more steps forwards and just sits in his stool, now concentrating, squinting, and you smell in the air around.
Not do that. I go inside
I thought
the
you were
store.
just staying outside and controlling.
No, I'm gonna go inside, but I'm watching.
Gotcha. No worries. Brenna
Excuse
sits down
me.
on the stool. That was tough. Stands back up, and the two of you guys go into the
There we
store. No problem. You can see within the space, very different than most stores that you've been into. There's a single table. You can see a couple of chairs, 3 chairs out in front. On the other end, on the long side, you can see a single chair and an individual sitting there. I don't remember if you have been told about this individual, but this is a elf, high elf. You can see slick back, long black hair. It's cinched into some kind of a bronze, brass, or copper ring, and then disappears. The rest of the hair tucked down into what is almost like a brilliant green tunic. Fine elements of gold that of actual gold that are festooned into they're almost like golden rings that have been attached into the collar itself. And so as he turns, you can hear all of them kind of rattle together. But he squints for just a second and goes, Interesting. I didn't have an appointment just now.
Actually, I'm a friend of Morwen.
This is a tough one. Make a persuasion check. Technically true.
The best kind.
Technically true. Nice. 18.
Morwen, you said.
Yes.
I heard a little bit about her from Ezra, who I bought the shop from.
Ezra. That's who I was thinking of.
Fascinating.
Yes.
I've heard a lot about Morwen.
Yes.
A very wealthy tabaxi, apparently.
Yeah. Very wealthy, well-traveled, not around right now.
Well, we thank you for her name. And he stands up and gestures forwards. He holds his robes close to him and holds out a hand. The name's Azaric. Shakes your hand. Very soft hands. There is maybe some kind of like a cream on them.
Very hard hands.
Oh yeah, metal. But as you pull it away, there is like this element of almost like a Vaseline-like substance. But it smells very nice.
Okay.
It is much thicker than anything that you've like felt on an individual before. It's a little off-putting. It turns to you. And who do we have here?
Just a friend of his, and any friend of Morwen's is. Wait, I don't.
This is Brenna.
Yeah, I'm Brenna. Hi. I'm only like half paying attention because I'm also like looking out the window or whatever.
Okay. Okay. He turns. Well, welcome to Morwen's Miscellaneous, and I'd be happy to help you out with whatever you're looking for.
Thank you. We are looking for specifically something to help one of our companions be able to see in the dark.
See in the dark.
Yes.
We've a few things that fit that profile, but what sort of price range are we talking about?
I pass my bag of gold, which has almost 700 gold pieces in it, over to Aca while I'm looking out of the window.
The price is relatively inconsequential.
Is that platinum?
No.
Not this.
Well, then I assure you it's consequential. He turns and kind of looks. Well, for our more wealthy clientele, we have quite a few things we can offer. Is there a form that you wish this to take?
Something compact and
Wearable?
easy to keep discreetly.
Portable, right.
Well, at the moment, we have three things that might fit that bill. All of them use this property as more of a side effect than a major portion. But the first thing, just a moment.
Okay.
He stands up. You see, disappears into a back room. Door shuts. About 5 minutes go by. He returns, unless you guys have anything that you want to do over the course of this time.
There's nothing like on
Brenna's
display.
counting the
It's
minutes
just
because
the
we only
table
have
and the
10.
chairs.
Yeah, like table, chairs, stone walls, nothing else.
Yeah.
You see the windows are on the second and third story, not on this one.
Yeah.
So like just light coming from a single gas burning torch or lantern.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of like
He returns.
getting antsy.
Yeah, sure. After 5 minutes, holding a couple different boxes, sets them down, but pulls out a large flat one, about the size of like a box you would buy a shirt in at like an department store, if you guys remember those.
Okay.
But he opens it, almost immediately shuts it again, and says, "Now, you understand, you're in a place that specializes in illegal items. This is one that I wouldn't recommend wearing around Nocturne.
Right.
You know the Shade Warden, correct?
I am familiar with him.
So,
Do not know him personally, thankfully.
indeed. The Shade Warden, dear Brenna, is an individual who runs much of the security within Nocturne.
Like, lean down and whisper. Apparently he's the one who killed, the Grom, Glub.
Uh-oh.
Well, this individual, their badge of office their cloak, has a number of properties to it that are hard to replicate. Amongst them, the ability to see in the dark. Also amongst them, a proficiency in stealth that is not natural to most of us. And finally, when you pull the hood up, your face swathed in shadows, and not even magic, typically can break. All of this for a mere 1,500 gold.
How much you got?
You have 700? 750?
A little bit less, yeah, 7 or. Yeah.
I will say this is the nicer of the items, and if you are trying to be a bit more
Do you,
thrifty.
Barter perchance?
Well,
I have
Sorry.
a good amount of wares from my travels.
Well, where do you think the miscellaneous items come from?
Good point. I think I would probably take out the giant silver chalice,
Okay.
the copper ring, the gold ring with a chipped ruby, the pouch of coins from Leper's Leap,
Okay.
and the Calvraki armor that I have.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a lot of stuff.
I'm trying to offload.
It's been a long campaign.
He's looking through it and he goes, somebody's been to the Underdark. Well, this just looks like more money. I should tell you, on the avenue, seeing as how we do not always deal in licit things,
Yes.
a number of payments are accepted, gems amongst them.
Okay.
So a cash value for these, of course, yes, we could do that.
So what would you value?
Pile of stuff.
Well, I would need to weigh these items. We'd melt them down, of course, those of metal, and then we could pay you for the metal itself.
Oh, okay.
The gems, I would need to see individually. We could evaluate those and come up with some sort of a price. This could take some time.
How much for the armor?
The Drider armor.
Yeah.
It isn't something that we're going to sell very well, I don't believe. I could give you 10 gold for it.
It's better than nothing, I guess.
Well, maybe we should take a look at the other items that he said he had.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, time is of the essence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you somewhere to be?
Nope.
You could say that. Yeah.
Make a deception check, Brenna.
7.
7. He stands up, takes a couple steps around the table, and goes, "What is it that you're so afraid of?"
Definitely not afraid.
He takes a peek out and he looks at this empty stool and he goes, "Interesting." He turns and says, "I hope there won't be any trouble."
Nope, definitely not. As long as we just button things
really
up
hope
in
not
a couple
either.
minutes, we'll get out of your hair and we'll be good
Why
to go.
is it that you've distracted the Dawnkeeper fellow outside?
Well, if we're being perfectly honest, we're not too happy with them being here.
Brenna, dear, shut the door, please. To be perfectly honest, very few of us are.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've picked up.
Have you harmed my security in any way?
No, just sent him on a wild goose chase.
Just a moment. He stands up. You can see he turns, flicks his hand, and the door locks, the one that he went into in the back. But he steps forwards, opens up the door. You can see, looks around for a little bit, and you can see he just calls out, "Eric!" A couple seconds pass. You hear the
getting,
voice
like,
of this guard. Yeah, and he just
kinda
goes,
honored.
"I'm going to take lunch, so just please don't disturb me."
I was like getting
Shuts the
ready.
door.
Shut the fucking mouth.
He shuts the door, turns back around, locks it behind him, and steps forward. So, perhaps we can do some real business.
That sounds lovely. So without going too much into it, we are here to do some things to help deal with the Dawnbreaker situation.
Let's not go too much into it.
Yes.
Knowing that.
We're in the market for some items that will make our activities easier, which is why, we.
He takes the box with the cloak. I'll give you this for that hunk of silver. And he kind of nods to the chalice.
It's
Pretty
yours.
good deal.
It's yours. In fact, take it all. Yes, I feel bad. It's very valuable what you're giving us, and I understand the need to, keep up the appearances of legitimate business.
Well, cost really isn't an issue for you fellows, huh?
Well,
I do
it
have some
is, but
items. It is.
No,
it is, but priorities supersede the cost.
we'd love to see what else you have on offer.
Well, these premium goods, they're quite expensive.
Yes.
If we're not looking at things in the 15,000 gold and up range, then I wouldn't even bother bringing them out.
We can look at them.
15,000 gold? Did I hear that right?
And up.
15,000.
That's what the man said.
We've some regular items that are
1,500.
of lesser value, like the cloak, of course. But should you be trying to deal with this problem,
Yes.
how much do you know about Breda Dawnkeeper?
How much do you want to know?
Not much. What I know is quite enough.
Well, we probably know more than that.
Here's the thing. It would appear that Breda has the ability with this.
The mask. Yes. Yes, we are very well aware of what that is.
She can see everything.
Yes, that's what I have guessed. Also, probably not her.
If she were to come here,
Oh, I understand.
in an hour, she could still see you here.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've been operating under the assumption that she already knows exactly where we are and have been. I have personal vested interest in the thing that she has because
How far away are you from him at the moment?
probably like opposite wherever he was. I was probably standing close enough to the table to see the cloak.
Okay.
Right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you're here, as long as you're near me, and more specifically, he pulls out this little, almost like a copper necklace. Actually, I believe, maybe have even seen one of these. This is an amulet of non-detection. You've seen it, I can't remember where, but I know that you guys have come across one of these before. You will be okay, but be cautious.
Okay.
For some of the more expensive items, I have a shield in stock at the moment, legendary as it is, and something that has been spoken about in the north for some time. It came to me only a few months ago. I have a... Have you ever heard of Masildar?
Have I ever heard of Masildar?
Make a religion or history or arcana check, your choice.
Can I check
We will-
too?
Yeah.
I'm there, right?
Whichever one you want to make, all three of them have different facets.
Arcana, religion, or history?
I'll go with the tried and true.
And actually, yours, Brenna, interestingly, would be at advantage.
Oh, 16 for Arcana.
Okay.
Dirty 20 for me for history.
16 for Arcana. You've heard, perhaps, of some older rituals maybe relating to Masildar, but can't really think about it. What was yours?
Dirty 20 for history.
Masildar. That's a name you've heard before. Masildar is a leader amongst the Drow in the underground kingdom of Othulu Valdun, sorry. It is centered around something known as the Amethyst Spire, a giant gem-like citadel deep in the Underdark. Masildar is a Drow prophetess, one who is told of a religiously significant prophecy to the Drow called the Grand Mashan. And so you've heard of Masildar in that context.
And sorry, what kind of object was this being used to describe? Or no, he just said, have you heard of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Well, crafted by her very hands and lost in some unfortunate incident of travel. The Marble Mansion of Masildar. This extra-dimensional dwelling, very small. You can hold it in the palm of your hand, but you are able to open it into a much larger space. And from a practicality standpoint, this is essentially a slightly smaller version of Magnificent Mansion, folded into an item.
That sounds quite expensive.
Well, it depends on what you think of as quite expensive, but 20,000 gold pieces, yes.
How much for the shield?
The shield itself, as I said, from the north. Have you heard of the legend of the Frostmare?
I have, yes.
So, from the Frostmare's rider, they bore a shield of faceted ice. That very shield I may have in the back.
I would very much be interested in seeing that shield.
I would very much be interested in seeing 17,000 gold pieces.
I kind of pull Aca to the side for a second and I say, why are we bothering letting him show us all this really expensive stuff? We don't have this kind of money.
That's a legendary item.
We can't afford it.
I work for a place that tracks these sorts of things down.
Now you know where it is.
I want that.
I
for
know.
me.
Okay.
I need this.
All right. Dejected, she turns back to the countertop and just. Have we successfully purchased the cloak at least?
Yes.
Okay.
For the chalice, and I gave him the armor.
Okay. What's it
'Cause,
called?
Why not? It was 10
This is
gold.
the Shade Warden's cloak.
All right.
Okay.
But Brenna's satisfied with that, so she tried to talk Aca out of
Yeah.
wasting any more time, but he won't, so.
Gonna be upfront with you.
Sure.
I really want the shield. I think it would be very helpful for our situation. We do not have that much money, but perhaps we can come to some sort of arrangement that would be beneficial to both your business and our community endeavors.
If by the community you mean my customers, that is something that concerns me, yes.
Yes.
I'm very much interested in helping you out.
I appreciate that.
So what do you have to offer?
Take out all my gold,
Okay, which is?
which is 78 platinum, 620 gold, and 1 copper, and 1 the electrum piece that I don't know what the actual value is because
Yeah, Electrum's not used on this
right.
continent.
It's
so
like
yeah.
the one random coin that I had,
Yeah.
and then
My bag of gold has 668 gold pieces in it, and you're still holding it.
So you're sitting around
for
like
nothing.
2,100.
yeah, and then. Yeah, I have a bunch of hand axes. I got like I've got some wyvern venom, a couple scales. As
At this point, you're just bringing trash out of
I really want.
How old is that scale?
Like I don't know how old was Kind Scale?
Kind scale? I'd be like thousands of years old.
Like thousands of years old.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you can afford the shield. I have some more simple items I could bring out. I have a necklace of teeth that might be of interest to you.
Can I
I've
just
got-
see it?
Okay. Necklace of teeth, you say?
Yes.
What does that
So,
do?
This was the last item that I had that might be of some help. It is a necklace of teeth from a black dragon. These teeth carved with runes that I would be very careful about transcribing or looking at for too long.
Abyssal?
Perhaps. It makes me feel nauseous to look at. However, these teeth, should you sow them into the ground, will result in skeletal creatures rising up, presumably at your command.
How much for the necklace of teeth? No? Oh, now you're not interested in shopping.
While one of these skeletal creatures is active, the person attuned to this item will have dark vision, as if through their own eyes. It is an odd item, and one I could part with for 1,000 gold.
I think we're good with the cloak then.
Can I just see the shield?
Make a persuasion check.
I was gonna.
8.
Again, I really need to see the money.
So, that's a face. Brenna, like, very bows as graciously as she can, and she says, "Thank you so much for all your assistance. I hope our paths cross again." And then she kind of peeks out the window. Is the guard anywhere around?
You look over, the guard's just sitting there. Yeah.
I say,
Get us out.
we'd like to leave now, and we'd like the guard to not see us. Can you help?
Yes, of course. He steps out to the edge, kind of opens the door. He turns, and you could just see, "Eric, I've run out of milk. Could you please fetch me some next door?" And this guy just goes, "Fine." Stomps off.
Thank you very much. We'll be back after we've maybe resolved some of the situations that we were discussing.
I hope so. And if you do find anything especially interesting,
We will be sure to come back.
thank you.
Thank you. Maybe next time you'll let me see the shield.
Okay, off we go. Bye.
He stops you. You want to see the shield?
Very much so.
I'll tell you what. Does that arm come off?
I haven't tried.
I would like to see how that arm works. I've seen one other like it, and it was crafted by a gnome out of Port Gwyn.
Oh,
I heard he died some months back, so that is interesting to me.
well,
And as a businessman, I am always looking for a way to make coin.
kind of need it. You can look at it.
And you can look at the shield.
Okay.
You gotta take your arm off?
Oh, can I take my arm off?
Haven't tried.
I don't want to take it off. I just want to like hold it out to him.
And so he's gonna look and say, "Where does it attach?" Just kind of pulls. You see the skin stretch a little bit.
I don't
It seems
think
to have bound to your physical form.
Don't think it does that.
He has like a screwdriver in hand. Well, unfortunately, very little to learn from the outside, I'm afraid.
I could sword. Show you some of it.
Brenna, dear, I think the guard will be back soon, so you're friend.
Time to go.
Next time. I'll
Perhaps
see
another time
what
when there is
I can
less
do
urgency.
about the.
And Brenna just pushes him out the door.
And the door shuts behind you. Still says that
Catch a
to lunch.
break.
I know. But look,
make
we
you
got a
guys-
cool new item that does what we needed.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah, for several
that is
items,
good.
That's what you needed now. Let's do what you need. So you make your way back out into Nocturne, and are you heading
Those
back
torches.
to Bricklewood's?
Yeah, I think we've gotten what we need. The Shade Warden's cloak is pretty great.
Yeah,
for-
Eleanor's gonna love it.
Yeah.
That's two birds with
As you
one
turn
stone.
Do we
into
cross paths?
rock,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you do in fact see across the way, sort of meandering in thought. You see Oakfeld. First the staff, then the
thank God.
sort of guard. People sort of parting ways.
Do I still have
I would probably just like
Yeah, so there are two seagulls aboard Oakfeld. You see one on each shoulder. They haven't moved. And every now and then, if Oakfeld is just kind of walking, not really paying attention, he'll come up and there'll be a person who's not getting out of the way. One of the seagulls, and the person starts away. Oakfeld doesn't seem to notice, just continues to walk in a straight line.
I would just kind of be like, let's go, Brenna.
Oakfeld, make a perception check.
None of our party is subtle.
A 6.
Plus 8.
Was it
Yeah,
just
plus 8.
14.
14, that's high enough. You turn, you see Aca just shielding his face from your vision. You see Brenna looking over at you.
Hey, bud.
Friends.
Uh-huh. Yep. We're gonna go back and meet up with our other friends, and we gotta skedaddle, so come with us.
Have you met my other friends?
The seagulls?
Those are birds.
Yeah. Are they coming?
Well, why wouldn't they? They are my friends.
Because they're dirty birds from the
Okay.
docks.
They can come as long as they keep quiet.
They're birds that can't keep quiet. They're seagulls.
Okay, anyway, time to go. I don't really want to be having this conversation in this spot. I think Brenna increasingly just sees Oakfeld as like a little toddler that she and the rest of the group need to take care of. So she's not going to argue with him over
Aca
his
just
seagull
sees him
friends.
as a liability. So that's
So you guys bring
better.
both Oakfeld and friends back to Bricklewards?
I'm a woman of my word. If they don't make any noise, then I won't chase them away.
Stubbornly
Oh, they make a lot of noise.
ignore.
Yeah, right as you guys begin to turn around, you hear this honking begin. It's pretty loud, and as every time you go by any kind of food, they start to
think,
make
like,
even more noise.
After
flap
the
their wings
third time, I would probably go over and just be like,
off and into the air. You see one into the metal ceiling, and then it begins to flap. There's no like openings here in this part of the of Nocturne, so these seagulls now just like causing a problem. 3 of them loose in the hallways. People begin to like duck underneath, but you chase them away.
I'm gonna kind of like now I've got like
Stomp
2
away.
people who I feel like I really just need to guide. So I've got Aka's hand in one hand,
I don't have.
Oakfeld's hand in the other, and I'm like, come on, boys, let's go.
Stomp away. I'm not walking with this guy.
Well, I grab Oakfeld's hand and I'm like, come on. And as we're walking, I'm like, so what have you been up to? Just trying to distract him from his friends being
I
gone.
move like. I want to be like. I'm not with him, but like I'm not leaving Brenna with him.
Sure. You take like a 15-foot lead.
I don't know
around
this
and
guy.
you look
Yeah.
over your shoulder, but yeah, no problem. I get it. You guys make your way back through the streets with no issue and to Bricklewards. The crowd dies down as you get closer. You turn into alleys, little back areas, and eventually you find, still moved to the side, that huge piece of timber that the Goliath moved. You can step in, and all of you, again, reunited within this place.
Oh, hey, we're back. We found this.
Oh, yeah.
I was like gonna mention Oakfeld, but then I'm like, we found. I give you the cloak.
And I say, Eleanor, I think you'll find this solves multiple problems for you.
And then I would rattle off the like user manual description.
So yeah, this cloak, the Shade Warden's cloak, he tells you first of all, don't wear it Nocturne, because it is stolen from literally like this is the badge of the chief of not just the police, but really like the military here. And you are now walking around with it. The cloak, the hood being pulled up over your face will cast it into shadow. That same magical shadow seems to give you power to see in the dark, up to 60 feet. This item does require attunement. It gives you proficiency in stealth or expertise if you already have it.
What if you already have expertise in something?
I was like, is there like one level
Above
past that?
expertise. God.
Oh, I don't have expertise in it. Yes.
Now you
All the skills. I like that for rogues, no matter what. Every rogue would be so good at the reality show circuit.
Oh, yeah.
As a reliable talent. Goff probably could fit in there, no problem. But yeah, so that is what that item is. It's called the Shade Warden's Cloak.
Okay.
I hand over the rope and the manacles and the torches to, what was the name of the Goliath who I was shopping for?
That was the leader of them. Give me 1 second here. I have so many notes for this week. Hasgal.
Yeah, I hand the stuff over to Hasgal.
Well, thank you, new friend.
I high five him.
Takes him, high fives you back.
Nice.
I'm gonna take out the bag of holding
Advance.
and try to empty out as many ants as I can.
Sure. So, taking a bag of holding and emptying it out releases all the contents at once,
Oh,
which is no problem. You do so.
Or
In the middle of this foundry,
your definition
on the stone floor, you overturn and sand, roughly 2 pounds of it, spill across the stone, and hundreds of dead ants, maybe like 3 or 4 dozen live ones. They've been in there for a long time. You can see definitely signs that these ants have been cannibalized. This is like an ant farm that somebody put in a bag of holding, and then they probably like lost the bag, they died, whatever happened. This is a small community that has existed in an extra dimensional space for some amount of time.
Right.
And now the foundry is the ant.
Nothing else falls out?
No.
Okay. All right.
somebody's
But now I have a clean bag of holding, so that's good.
I'm also going to give Eleanor her 180 gold pieces back that she gave me to procure
Oh,
things.
I give you back your satchel of
Yes,
gold.
you do.
Thank you, but surely this cloak costs something.
We bartered for it, no worries.
Gave up a giant chalice. Massive chalice.
It was really big.
Not a sponsor.
Literally sized for a giant.
I'm just gonna tuck my gold back in. No one wants anything from me, sure.
I mean, I do.
All right, so we've got all of our items and we're pretty much ready to go. What are our teams? We have 2 teams, right? One of them distracting, one's going to be climbing on the eaves with the most agile individuals.
Probably me and Shay and Brenna, you can fly too.
I can fly.
You forgot Haskell, you forgot Northica, you forgot
Are you...
Vathenpro.
How... Can you show us how agile you are?
Well, that's kind of insulting. I haven't asked how agile you are.
Hold
you
on.
want to see?
Haskell, I assume that you and the gang were going to be doing the big fight at the gates, because that's what that you guys are incredible at that. We saw.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh no. 3?
Now I'm confused again because I thought this was a distracting attack, right? It's not a real one. The real one's gonna be in the best part, so we gotta go there.
Right, but we need to have a larger contingency at the front gate so that they draw most of the troops away so that the infiltrating group will have less opposition to get to where the captives are being held. Once those people are freed, then we will have your leader and probably some others that can attack from the rear up at the entrance to regroup, and we
Make a
will...
persuasion check.
How many persuasion checks does it take?
15?
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, there's 4 of us and there's a bunch of you. I feel like we're the smaller group.
It's...
So how about this? How about for the Eves party, we kind of
I
we'll
can
group up in
literally fly!
like we'll have like a 2 groups, like a flanking, so we can catch them off guard, and that way if something happens to one of us, the other group will still be able to infiltrate.
Yeah, that makes sense to me as long as I get to go.
Okay, fine.
Yes, of course, we need your expertise out there. And also, you have the most skin in the game, being as you have brethren and
Yeah,
men at arms.
We're also just bigger than you, so we got more skin naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is very true.
It's just like, oh my god.
Listen, and I'll just kind of turn to like, listen, it's like, if they're really louder than us, like brings actually gonna pull Aca and everyone else will be like, listen, if they're like really louder than us,
Internal
maybe
distraction.
they'll be able to like get the archers on them, and then we can just kind of.
It'll be a distraction either way, for sure. And if they get caught up on the eaves, then they won't. Well, the guards or whatever won't have much reason to believe that there's like a second group also on the eaves.
Yeah, it's like the when you ride past the cops and you leave something for them to find, so that the thing that you don't want them to find doesn't get found.
Also,
Just like
we
that.
need all of the help we can get at this point. any extra hands willing to help them taking them?
Yeah, at this point, Hansel joins your huddle.
Hello.
Hey, bud.
Oh, I was playing with my ant friends.
You see Oakfeld is like bent down. There's like a couple of ants that are all in like a perfect line in front of him, just like standing there.
We await your orders.
They do seem to be like in some way interacting with Oakfeld. That being said, Hasgold joins your little huddle and goes, "Yeah, not to put a rush on things, but we're probably getting close to the time where the Tipsy Tavern's going to be where we need it to be, because it's got to be at its highest elevation for us to get there. So we got to get moving. We've got about 2 hours, give or take."
Alright, so it takes an hour to tune, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know what one of those hours is gonna be.
So let's take a quick
Short rest.
gathering of our,
Risky business.
we'll rest up, head out, make it right around the time that the Tipsy Tavern is at its peak.
Eleanor's gonna try to catch Oakfeld up. Like, what's going on?
Sure.
So just
I've already had a rest. I can go take a look. See what we're dealing with now.
Sounds good.
Do you think that that's wise? Should we just go as a group? We don't want them to be... we found out a little more about how the eye works. Probably don't want to be anywhere near there until we're ready.
Very well.
As much as I don't like going in completely blind, the alternative is going in to recon and revealing our position and our plan.
I'm a little insulted you have so little faith in me, Aca, but
It's more about not lack of faith in you. I know you can do lots of things that are very, frankly, terrifying, but also, you know what we're up against.
of course I do.
So that's really the thing that's giving me pause. We should go as a group.
Very well.
So we'll be going as one group or two. I'm a little bit confused. And as you guys sit down and re-explain
Feels like
this to
mom and
this
dad
guy,
fighting.
because it is 8:45, this is where we're going to step away for a moment for a quick break, and at 9 o'clock we'll come back, and we will begin our journey through the eaves of Nocturne. But thank you for hanging out with us in the chat. Hello, Talon. Hello, the Role Players Guild. Everybody else who's hung out. We will be back in about 15 minutes. We'll see you then. and welcome back to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. Thank you for sticking with us through the break. If you're just joining us, welcome as well. We're going to come right back in to Bricklewort's Foundry as the lot of you pass some time in preparation. So all of you who want to can mark off a short rest. Over the course of that hour, is there anything that you guys are doing, or are you mostly just steeling yourselves for the task ahead?
So, in case we see Frida, she has musical talents. They're terrible and dangerous. Please, I don't know how else to warn you about this, but if she whips out the little concertina thing, it's probably a terrible sign.
So we should try to focus on destroying it or getting it out of her reach?
I don't know if that would do anything, but I just know that little concertina is bad news.
This isn't the first time we've come up against someone who was especially dangerous when their instrument was being instrumented, right? And then Brenna realizes who she's talking about and is quiet again. Nice enough to be embarrassed by that.
Okay. The largest Goliath, who has been spending a little bit of time in the corner by himself, at this point kind of wanders back over. And he's going to say, well, I mean, if we just kill her, since she can't play this as bongos or whatever, also. But also, who's this guy? And he turns and points to Oakford.
He's a tree.
He's our friend.
So we have to be careful because
he turns to his friends who perfectly accept this. All the other Goliath, even the dwarf at this point, just kind of shakes her head. But he just goes, all right, we're all just going to be okay with that. All right. He just kind of sits back and listens.
So the things that we know about Brita means that she's probably going to know that we're coming with at least a few minutes warning, probably more, if not already. She has a magic. What does it do? Can it charm people, hypnotize people?
As far as I can tell, it's kind of just if anyone else was using it, it'd probably just be a normal little.
Do you have to hear what she's playing?
I mean, you usually kind of do because you're nearby. It's not like.
But if we were to make ourselves unable to hear, would
I think
that?
It's more like a focus.
Okay. So she's casting magic.
Yes. It's just if it gets whipped out, it probably means it's a bad sign.
Does Aca not know what a spellcasting focus is?
I know what a spellcasting focus is, but I'm trying to ascertain more about what types of spells or what types of abilities she could produce with her spellcasting focus. Because I can paint shit.
Can paint shit.
But
that's true, and it's dope.
That's okay, so that's good to know.
I did my best not to ever witness her killing things or fighting, because it usually means something terrible was happening. And
So does she fight at range, or is she more hand-to-hand combat?
Yes.
What? Both.
Yes.
Okay.
I spent more time with Storm than anyone else on that kind of front. So it was very rare for her to ever actually have to do anything. But if she ever had to do anything, it was usually really bad. Really, everything had gone to shit.
So, I mean, it sounds like even if she knows we're coming, she's not going to be there. She'll have some other assholes do the work for her.
There's a decent chance, but she also just might be there.
Didn't we have a lead that she probably is going to be there?
Yeah, I mean, we know roughly where she is, but I don't know if she'll prep something for us.
It's safe to assume yes. And if not, that would be pretty nice. So that's why it's safe to assume yes.
Yeah. I mean, if she's heard that Storm's dead, it might,
She might
change some
be
things.
expecting us. and also be more angry at you. But I don't know if that's possible.
I hadn't really considered that.
The Goliath at this point pipes up and goes, I don't know about you guys, but I have anger, and then I have like rage, and then there's an even darker rage. But you know, that's just kind of me.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm not a strategist.
I mean, I think the goal is sneak in to the best of our abilities, try to get as close to her as we can, and take her out. It's that easy.
It's just 3 things.
Yeah, that's just 3 things.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we if our last adventure was anything to go by, I don't know if planning is our strong suit. We might just have to kind of go.
What do you mean? I mean, you guys just kind of came in and you destroyed the Dawn Keepers, so it seemed like things went to plan.
Yep. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Aca is just like,
I believe we will be fine.
At any rate,
I
it's
do
probably time
think
to
a
go,
plan is a
right?
good thing, but we do need to get going
We do.
if we're going to catch our window of opportunity.
all right.
Flip that up.
Okay.
It's so cool.
I feel like a target.
As you pull the hood up for the very first time, this is a dark cloak. The hood itself seems to have some kind of like a spine to the hood, so it comes back in like a very strong, pronounced silhouette. This stands out, certainly. And as it hangs out maybe like 3 inches beyond your head, it casts this unnaturally dark shadow across. And for all of you, as you look, you see not Eleanor's eyes, but these glowing, vaguely green sort of shapes peering out from within.
Eleanor, you look cool as shit.
All right.
Okay.
Or Hakas. I'm going to try to use the hat to see if that changes the visage of the cloak or if the cloak kind of supersedes.
Sure.
Hat on top of a hat.
We're stacking it.
You take the hat, you put it on top of the
It's like when you wear a raincoat and then you put a hat on top of the raincoat. It's like, why do you do that?
grab the brim, and as you pull it down and your face changes to whatever it is that you change it to, the face remains swathed in this magical darkness.
Yeah. All right. So there's no.
Does it disguise the cloak itself, though?
I mean, yeah, it does. As far as you can tell, the cloak seems to kind of blend in. That being said, it not being a perfect illusion, as you move, the cloak still, people feel it as it moves.
It's like the mesh, misaligned mesh.
Yeah, kind of like that.
But that's a good idea. It'll at least allow you to like move through the town without this like really obvious silhouette, right?
Yeah, but the face is still completely gone.
Well, we
but
don't
maybe
have
it's all
much-
level
No, but
up.
it's so cool.
We don't really have anywhere to. Yeah, we're gonna be trying to be stealthy the whole time.
Well, here's the thing, right? We can do that to a point, but to start out, we need to go into a tavern, and then we're going into the ladies' restroom, and we're going through the window, and from there, we're going to climb down the eaves.
Okay, so we're gonna do that.
So, I mean, you can only walk into a tavern.
So our
stealthily.
second party, we should time it. Let's say, what time is it now? Like, on the hour, we strike simultaneously so that we can stay coordinated.
We can try, yeah.
We can certainly try.
I mean, the thing is, you know, it's kind of a walk. An hour we could do. I don't know if all of you will be able to keep up, honestly.
Yeah, we'll be able to keep up.
I'm gonna put the cloak's hood back down until we like get to the actual like place where I'll meet it.
Okay. Yeah,
So it's a
no worries.
little bit less obvious.
It's probably a good idea.
I mean, we have a bag of holding now. You could just stuff it into the bag of holding until you need it.
I don't know if that means I'd have to reattune to it. I like take it off.
No,
and
I
then
don't
put it
think
back
so.
on. Like it
shouldn't.
I would say at this point in your adventuring career, you would know that you can do that without losing attunement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So.
Now, are you guys heading off on this adventure?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I'm feeling really bad about this one too.
Yeah, but in fairness, you feel bad about everything all the time.
In fairness, I've died twice in the last week.
Yeah, that's true.
You begin to walk. And this is quite a walk. You did not take an earlier opportunity to get the Tipsy Tavern on an earlier floor. And so you need to walk basically to the top. This takes you about 45 minutes. You make your way, the Goliath kind of hurrying up and stopping to let you guys catch up. However, without too much trouble, Aca, you being from the city, you make your way up to the Tipsy Tavern. The floor before you reach, you see the first signs of it. This massive stone column, upon which you can see rub marks from the tavern itself sliding up and down across 5 stories. Currently, it is fixed at the top position, the first position that the Finger Gang had seen it in when they had first entered Nocturne. That was their name. For so long. And so many social media filters filter that out because it sounds like something else. And so,
I mean,
so it was such a headache for so long. And I gave you guys so many opportunities to change it. Anyhow, neither here nor there. You make your way up to this tavern door. Wood, you can see thrown open. Within, there is maybe 6 tables along the long wall. You can see one window out overlooking, you would imagine, the short sea just outside, down a sheer wall. You can see there are bathrooms off to the side in the corner, 2 of them. And then there is a long sort of a bar. You guys have been to bars. Wooden, metal stools kind of strewn out in front, a little bit unevenly. And one thing that you can also notice here, the floor itself segmented into 3. And so you would imagine as the structure shifts, different elements of it move at different times to accommodate these strange hallways and corridors. This could not fit down in one straight piece. So you'd imagine there are certain areas where if you were sitting at different times, the bar might become cut off from itself. But at the moment, very still is this bar. You guys all entering?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, I have a disguise up. Similar to one earlier, half elf, bearded, really shaggy hair, so it's hard to see what I look like anyway. And then a much darker complexion.
Sure.
I get as far away from myself as I can,
Sure.
within reason.
No problem. You guys enter, and you can see a bartender, like this half elf, wearing relatively nice clothing, although plain. But he beckons you all in, and as you approach the bar, the Goliath turns to all of you and just goes, "Let me do the talking, okay?" Takes a few lumbering steps forwards, and he says, "We're here for the bathrooms." The bartender just kind of takes a quick step back and goes, "Again? Oh, all right, go ahead." And he turns and goes, "Follow me, everybody."
Wow.
Steps over to the first bathroom. You can see the bartender just looks at all of you, tries to avert his eyes. It's very small as each of the Goliath go past. Edgerton, the tallest of these Goliath, has to bend down to actually get into the bathroom itself. But are you all crowding into the space designed for one person?
I guess so.
Fantastic. For Goliath, for what it's worth, the dwarf not accompanying, staying behind in Brickle Wards, but the 4 Goliath and all of you crowd into a space no greater than 10 by 10. It is quite crowded, and for the first time, you all smell the pungent aroma of these 4 Goliath. Yeah.
Are they coming to the eaves with us? I thought some of them were going to the front.
No, they all wanted to come to the eaves,
Right,
remember?
you guys are going
We
into
couldn't convince them not to.
I thought some of them were still going. I thought we were doing the 2-pronged attack.
I think the plan is
A picture.
2 teams on the eaves. We're hoping that they are noisy enough to distract from our party.
Yeah, we discussed that other thing, but the other thing doesn't seem like it's going to be happening, so we're kind of rolling.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, we're rolling with it.
even better.
As you guys all crowd into this,
better.
all right. Now, let's review the plan, all right? I know it's not your strong suit, so could you guys just move over a little bit, please? And everybody's just scrunching in together.
Brenna's gonna climb up on Aka's shoulders and just like sit on his shoulders
No problem.
Completely
without asking him if
unchanged
it's okay.
expression.
There's a part
just
where
like,
your hand presses down on his face. No expression.
It's awesome.
All right, so through this window, we're going to go out. We need to go hand over hand across the sconces that line the outside wall. Not to panic anybody, but it is about 100 foot fall. So, not advised to do. There are some rocks down there, so it's not even really into water. From there, we're going to have a couple things stashed, I hope. And from there, we can take grappling hooks that we have and get across to the next point. And there we can split up and take our two paths, provided you know the way, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, who's going first?
I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and like all of those things. I can just fly
Yeah,
there.
no problem. So Shay, you see first, leans out the window, hanging with one hand. You see very casually swings and just kind of turns horizontally. Gone. Already, you run across. You see these little sconces passing you almost like horizontally over. You feel the wind in your face. You can see the sun setting off.
Beautiful night to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about 75 degrees. It's a nice spring night. You dash over to this other side, bypassing the acrobatics check entirely. And you find your way up to a flat portion, some kind of a roof. And actually, you are on the roof of what is a... you smell shrimp. Let's leave it at that.
Seem well concealed, or is it out in the open?
Make a perception check. Relatively well concealed, but as you look around, I mean, there are other buildings that are taller.
That's a 30.
A 30? You get low. First of all, with a perception check of 30, you can see everything. You see a hide bag thrown over against the ledge. Certainly, you see like a little rope trailing out, probably the grappling hook that they've stashed here previously. You look around, you don't see anybody observing you. And this particular building, one of the benefits to it, there are two rising up like tin chimneys. Mm-hmm. The smell, the smoke that you're coming from here, this is like a shrimp. Hard to tell, it's without really telling, but they seem to be cooking things beneath. And the way that these two stacks rise up, it obscures this area very well. Looking down over the roof, you can see... You can see there is maybe 80 feet away this other building. And across underneath, you can see there is just a slowly moving pile of garbage. And looking, it's almost like a little ramp that curls in. You see like trickling water. This is almost like a landfill or something that is slowly moving down with a 30. You can tell it seems to be sliding in a direction towards the ocean. Probably this is just where people throw trash and it gets washed out with the tide. Yeah, I know. They don't have like a cool sewer system like Dungannon. They're a little bit less civically minded in this very criminal active city.
Who'da thunk it?
But across this chasm of garbage, you can see there are a number of other roofs that then split up, and from there, the roof structures spread out into eaves that wind their way down and down and down. Eventually, you would imagine, to the Avenue of Everdusk. So you wait. Aca, you fly over.
Yeah.
Again, no problem. You step out. You can see the Goliath go, oh, wait. And then you just fly. And he goes, oh, I mean, that's pretty good.
I said it.
Who's next?
I'll fly it over as well.
I guess I'll just.
Brenna, you too? And you just kind of like disappear out the window.
It's my shoes.
Oh, man, I'm feeling kind of under dress now.
Aw.
Don't worry. All right. Try to go and be probably the only one that actually has to roll.
Okay, yeah, make an acrobatics.
Yeah, he's, yeah.
Ah, okay. Awesome. So that should be very good.
I'll be fine.
That is a right. I don't have the, I do. That is a
Rogue math.
no. It just my brain just like what 9 plus 9 and just
18.
errored out. 28.
28.
Oh, wow.
9 plus 9, 28. You easily kind of looking out. First, you see the handhold. You grab onto it, and this is so much easier than going through rigging on a storm. Hand over hand, no problem. You make your way across, eventually getting to where the other 3 members of your party are. Oakfeld. It is now you and the Goliath.
13.
Okay.
No, I don't have that.
Okay. That's it, flat 13?
Yeah.
Okay. Oakfeld, you
No, I don't have
lean.
it. It's not.
+3.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
acrobatics, right?
Bingo.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, +3.
16.
Okay, much
I was
better.
looking at Arcana.
You
what you
lean
use to
out,
climb, right?
and as you look, first of all, this is like a long fall across metal. The only thing that you can really see to hold on to are these wooden sort of sconces that hang out. So you take a moment and you stretch out, you kind of grab it. The Goliath behind you just says, little man, do you want me to carry you?
That would be very nice.
All right. I don't know why none of the others did this. That's insane. He goes, you see, he takes out some of the rope, ties it around his waist, hands it to the next person, they tie it around their waist. All 4 of them end up tying each other to each other. And then he kind of holds out a hand to you, scoops you up if you'll allow him, and then just kind of takes one grasp out this window and no problem lugs you across. He gets midway through, takes the line, loops it over, and kind of slides. You hear the of rope as he moves, but now belayed onto the actual sconce itself. You see this team of Goliath very safely and aptly climbing across these sconces. If any one of them were to fall, there's 3 of them to hold the rest up. But they make their way across, no issue. They get back over, and you can see the big one, 8'3" is this guy, crosses to all of you and goes, "You guys are insane. You didn't even try to tie yourselves off. That's impressive. You guys got some stones."
Can literally fly.
Well, yeah, but you never know, and that stuff just stops
I
working.
do know.
I've
I
seen
know
it happen
exactly
before.
when.
I spent a lot of time rigging.
You see, he has no idea what that means. All right, so over here, the leader walks up to this bag, opens it up. All right, so we've got 3 grappling hooks. We've got about 80 feet of line, and we can get all the way down across this garbage chute. You don't want to fall in there, mind you. Now, it seems like a slow moving.
Where are we
It works kind of
going?
like quicksand.
Just point.
He leans over and 80 feet across the chasm and down. You can see it's like a support strut for what looks like a water conveyor. And remembering that little makeshift elevator you had taken, this is probably what powers it somewhere off in the distance. You can see he points. We're going to try to anchor it over there. And then we're going to grab onto one of those bucket-looking things as they go up. Brenna, you can probably fit in one. Just take a seat. But for the rest of us, we're going to cling on, and we're going to ride it on up.
I grab the rope and I fly it over and hitch it exactly to where is like most effective for them to just slide over, get it onto a bucket.
And so you realize what they're talking about is essentially a zip line. That's
Yeah.
what they're trying to establish here. And so no problem. You fly across, taking the line with you. Kind of like loses slack as it goes. You can see the Goliath turn to each other, and the tallest one goes, "You know, that's actually pretty handy. I wish we'd had them around when we tried to set this up last time." He goes over to these things, looks over, pulls it, and on your end you see it like pull taut. And he goes, "All right, so who's going first?" "I know, Brenna, you can just fly across."
I will.
"All right. Shay, you run down the line if you want. No problem." So this foot over foot. You take one step, then the other, and for a moment you hold out your hands to balance, and then just run. And you just move full speed down this rope at 80 feet. It takes you less than 6 seconds.
Nice.
You just arrive. Aca, you were not surprised by this. You've seen this before.
I'm still just
Plain face.
Yeah, you can see the leader just go, "What the fuck?"
You never get used to it, actually. And I'm gonna try to zip line like a normal person, or like what I imagine how you would go.
So what are you using as your zip line device?
That is a good question. All I really have is my sword.
So
Okay.
you draw your sword.
I mean, like, in the
Sheath in the scabbard.
Surely it has.
So you take the scabbard, you throw this over top. Go ahead and make another acrobatics check, please.
Okay. Okay. 25.
You just slide right down, holding on to the sword. You can see the scabbard taking the impact of this lion really well. It's leather, it's worn and very well cared for, so it doesn't even seem to fray at all. And you make your way down 80 feet. Beneath you, the smell of trash rises up. You can smell garbage. It's like a combination of low tide from the ocean off into the west, and then this terrible smell. But over top, no problem. You end up reaching over onto this long metallic strut, only about 3 feet wide. And so you have to kind of prop yourself up there. You come to a stop, pinwheeling your arms, take the sword, and kind of jam it against the side to give yourself something to hold on to. But you're there. Shay is there. Aca is there. Brenna, are you flying over?
Before I do, I'm gonna kind of subtly ask Oakfeld if he wants me to carry him.
How do you subtly ask that?
Well, like just like quietly to like not embarrass him in front of the Goliath. I'm just gonna be
Gotcha.
like, "You want to ride?"
Oh, that would be lovely.
Okay. I don't know why I care about embarrassing Oakfeld, who
you
seems to have zero
Yeah.
capability.
No ability to be embarrassed. Is
What is this word?
I think we've established before that Brenna can pretty easily carry one person while flying. Is that
Yeah.
cool?
Oh, yeah. No, Brenna's strong enough easily to carry Aca, or not Aca, but yes, also
I have carried Aca before.
But Oakfeld, who's 5'8" and weighs all of
Right.
I don't know, 120 pounds soaking wet.
he's a man, not a tree.
Yeah. He's a
all
twig, not a tree.
I pick him up and fly him over.
No problem. You can see the Goliath go, I could, whoa, and you just lift him up. And he goes, Brenna, I gotta be honest, you're pretty fucking cool.
Aw, you too. Guy
You
whose
take
name I
one
can't
hand
remember.
off and you're still holding Oakfeld by one arm, but you, no problem, your little wing boots, you fly across. Same thing, over top of the garbage, you swoop over with Oakfeld. Oakfeld beneath you, you can see this landfill of trash just slowly sinking down. You feel it traveling towards the oceans, where it eventually disappears. And then you're over it and on this little metallic strut. Brenna sets you down very softly.
How does Oakfeld feel about pollution, I wonder?
He has kind of like not a concept of it yet, but he's building to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Slow realization.
Yeah.
So, all of you now over. The Goliath are going to follow. Ooh. Almost without issue. Hang on. 1 second here. Okay. They're okay. They go one by one following you. You can see the leader first, no problem. Takes this sort of fur out. You can see it's been wrapped with something that counteracts the tension of the line. Throws it over top and slides down. The second person, very similar thing. The third person as well. The final person, the largest of the Goliath, 8'3", a little bit bigger, and you could see even from this distance. He's about to shout something out and then thinks better of it and just starts waving his two huge arms. Once he is sure that most of you are looking, he just grabs this line with both hands and zips down it. About halfway through, although you can see he has, you can see this big grin, there is little bits of tears in his eyes. It's certainly hurting him more than he thought it was going to. But he gets to the end, lands, pinwheels, jams his hands behind him and goes, all right, we're all here. All right, so we're going to split into 2 teams now, right? Let's get going. And they kind of begin to move over off to the left. Now, from where you are, you can see to the left and the right, these walls become... So, out from the walls, the metal itself. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you. Bless you.
Always two. So, out from the walls, you can see these almost decorative... like buttresses, or I don't really know what they're called. I'm not an architect.
Buttresses?
Sure. They're like these extensions, little ridges that extend to break up the uniformity of the wall. And here and there they extend into actual walls that form almost like little highways. Although, for what it is worth, Shay, for you, certainly like a highway. But for the rest of you, these eaves, they're only about a foot wide. And you can see off the sides of each of them, there are angled clay tiles. Not attached, just kind of held in through friction, so very easy to knock off. And below those, you can see various houses or streets. There are all kinds of things. Where you guys currently are, not down in the Avenue of Everdusk yet. Technically, you are still in the lower reaches of the Quarter of Law. However, you guys can begin to progress your way down through these winding walls. It will be a acrobatics check, probably, for those of you who are not flying, and not Shay.
I'll just keep carrying Oakfeld.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you can carry it.
Because I have a lot more faith in Eleanor's acrobatic abilities than Oakfeld's,
I
so
think that's probably a good idea.
well placed, yeah.
Empirical evidence has proven that.
19.
19? So you wait, and seeing this water conveyor kind of going by, you time it until one of these big sloshing buckets come up. Brenna could just barely stand in one of these, so for you, it really is like clinging on. You grab on and it lifts you up and over top. You go 6, 7, 8, 10 feet up, and then you can see the first one of these walls that you drop down to, clinging, using this long scabbard and sword as sort of a balance. You begin to move off. So you, no problem, you begin to move. These are thin, no more than a foot wide, and you would imagine for you, now that you've gotten a little bit of balance here, relatively easy to walk. The next thing to think about as you look to the left and the right, as you descend, this is like the highest point. You're sort of walking above most people, but certainly it will be hard to hide up here on the eaves. Who's going next? And can you put your models in order so I have a marching order as well?
I will go last.
So
Okay, Shay is last.
So,
I went. You're flying.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
flying over. Shay's taking up the rear.
Oakfeld is with
Oakfeld and
Brenna.
Brenna are simultaneously because
No problem.
Brenna is flying up with.
And the Goliath are going to go in front of Shay, I believe.
Did they not?
Okay.
Did they split off yet?
Oh, they did. Yes, that's right. So they're going to be going around the left track, and you can kind of see them disappearing, trying to keep roughly parallel with you guys. At first, you actually hear one of them be like, "Oh, we should let them catch up." But as most of you can fly, and Shay can essentially fly, there's a point where they're like, "Oh man," and they have to start hustling to keep up. At this point, as you guys begin to climb down, are you all trying to stay stealthy? You can see. Okay. So go ahead and make stealth checks. It's a
Are you
group
wearing your
stealth check.
cloak now?
Do I have to be stealthy
I never,
when being
I don't think I ever took it off.
flown?
Just
Oh yeah.
down.
Okay.
Yeah, you're contributing. So this is a group stealth check, and the way that this
If you're
works.
trying to be stealthy and you're carrying like a chicken, the chicken has to roll stealth too. Because I go.
The way that this works, it is a group stealth check, and so there is a DC for this. As you guys roll, there is a rough average that you guys are getting. A natural 20 is going to count for 2 successes. A natural 1 is 2 failures.
Is this considered rocky terrain?
No.
Ooh.
Some of the walls are made of stone, but it's not rocky terrain.
23.
23. Okay.
22.
22.
Also 22.
24.
Okay.
The lowest I can roll.
Yeah, I rolled pretty poorly, but
Okay.
not so poorly.
You all begin to move, and quite quietly along this wall. The stealth in this aspect is much less about staying quiet. As high as you are, people not able to hear you that well. It's much more about watching the eyes of the people below you, the people parallel to you. You cross areas where you can look into windows. You can see people eating dinner. At this time of night now, the natural light behind you guys sort of beginning to fade through the windows. It's getting pretty dark, and just the torches keeping light here. But you see a few scenes of regular life here and there. You really need to keep yourself on either side of the eaves to keep yourselves obscured, and that's what the stealth really comes down to. And you do a pretty good job of it. Aca, there is a point as you get closer and closer to the Avenue of Everdusk, where you do begin to move. You take a step, kind of like almost needing to squirm
fly the
through,
whole way.
going through this area where the wall kind of goes underneath a very narrow portion. You have to kind of almost like kick off that portion of the wall to get up the other side. And in that moment, you kick one of these tiles, and you see it like off.
Can I try to catch it
Make an acrobatics check, sure. Or make a sleight of hand check. Call
so
that.
that it doesn't fall? Sleight of hand. 14.
14.
Flash of genius.
Okay, with the 19. There is this moment. Time stops. This tile slips. You have this panic for just a second. You reach out with telekinesis and it doesn't work. Your go-to move does not work. And so you go to reach, and in this moment, you see this massive hand. Grab it. And you can see underneath you now passing, still like in ways the way that they have to travel, still kind of behind you, this Goliath party, maybe 13, 14 feet below. And you can see this guy, 8'3", like the hand comes out to basically your feet almost, just goes, "You gotta watch it."
Thanks.
Places it right back on the wall. You see them progressing down and off to the west. You guys traveling a little bit more north and up before you travel down into what is the Avenue of Everdusk proper. Here, for Eleanor, who is leading this group.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Somehow.
Eleanor, make a perception check.
It's not terrible.
That's what we like, not terrible.
And I don't think I do. So that's a 19.
19. With the 19, as you guys walk and you begin to descend, there's an area very steep, and you travel, having to go a little bit slower to keep yourself safe, but it almost saves you, because for the first time, as you kind of begin to even out, you can see the avenue beneath you. Now, beautiful paper lanterns hanging roughly even with all of you, some actually beneath your level, casting this beautiful rosy yellow pastel glow across the space. You can see beneath you actually a few members of Britta Dawnkeeper's group sort of patrolling the streets. You see all kinds of activity below. Down beneath you, you would actually see just a little ways off Moreland's Miscellaneous, this pair of guards now associated outside of there. The first guard that you see up on the eaves themselves, you're maybe 80 feet off from the Jade Exchange. You can't quite see the building, but you can see the area that then is carved from the stone to, or the metal to leave a taller opening for the exchange itself. You know where it is, but before that, you can see a 10 by 10 little wooden platform that's been attached to the wall itself. And there is a individual in armor that you haven't really seen before. And just based on the fact that it is green and metallic, probably a member of the Jade Centurions, the guards of this place. You can see a heavy crossbow in the crook of his arm. He's standing there, turns every now and then, just keeping an eye. What are you guys all doing?
I'm just gonna like hold up my hand and just kind of like silently be like, "The guy, look at the guy."
You turn, Aca sees this. Aca, you turn, you relay this to Brenna. Brenna, you lean down and tell Oakfelt who you're holding. Shay, you hear Eleanor tell this to Aca from that distance with your perception, but they tell you as well.
So it's just one guy that we can see at this point?
Yeah.
Does it look like there's like a space either to like sneak below him, or is it kind of like, he's like attached to a wall, right?
So if you were to think about the DM screen as a wall,
Yeah. It's like in like one of those like deer huts.
this, yeah, off like this, there's just sheer metal below
Okay.
for about 18 feet, and then the floor. They're standing up here.
Yeah.
You can see like wooden struts attached to the metal wall itself to stabilize it. There's a little rope ladder that goes down to access it from.
Okay.
Nothing else on the wall. Along the
No,
wall.
so this is like roughly even with the eaves, so it, you know, you could step off and walk right onto this path with you guys.
Okay. Should we try to take him out quietly or sneak past?
I think the sneaking past would be faster.
Distractions.
I could try the silent image trick again. That worked pretty well.
Knowing what we do, does that seem like, having seen it before and knowing that the Jade Centurions are like, they're more than just like
Make an
random
insight
Dawn
check.
Keeper.
You know a little bit about them, but make an insight check because you see this one, and you've heard a little bit about them.
That's 9 plus 7, 16?
16. You know, hard to say.
Are there others in the area, or is it only the one?
Make a perception check.
Yes. Shay with her eyes.
Our special eyes.
21?
21. Did you roll a natural one?
I rolled a 9.
You look around. You see this centurion. You don't see any others in matching armor.
Okay. But he's the only one up on our level.
At the moment. But as you think about this and you get really low, you get it forward a little bit, and where you look into the curved area, and you can see elements of this, the Jade Exchange, which you've been to previously, similar in a lot of ways to the old monastery. And now you looking at it, there is this pang in your heart because it does remind you of the home that you no longer have. But you can see along the wall that leads to the closest area, the wall that you guys are on, you can see becomes part of the exterior wall connecting to the metal itself that is the outer wall of Nocturne. This wall that you are on runs along that, and you could travel to within 10 feet of the second floor of the Jade Exchange here. The only issue is about 60 feet away from this first guard, there is a 35-foot tall lookout tower that goes about 10 feet over the wall itself. There, and this is a true lookout tower, crafted of metal, definitely designed for this purpose, you can see another guard. Similar dress, similar armament. This also an elf. And then, that's all that you could really see. But following the wall a little bit, you can tell there is a section where you could jump 10 feet straight into what looks like a window on the second floor.
I will relay all of this.
Okay.
Quietly, of course.
I guess I'm just gonna try and see if I can map a path that's like, if there's like a way to like run a certain amount and like hide while they like, you know, like in a video game where like the little guards like looking back and forth, and like see if I can like figure out the timing to
Like
see if there
that
is
level.
like
Make an insight check.
a space between
right at
their
the
vision.
beginning.
Oh, I hate
Those
that.
stupid fucking spotlights, and you gotta take out the 3 spotlights in Ganon's
Oh god,
tower.
I'd forgotten about that. I was thinking Ocarina of Time
Piss
when
me
the
the fuck
The
off.
Wind Waker is like least favorite
first one.
Zelda.
Great game.
Anyways,
11.
11.
Going on the
not my
ship is so
strong
unfun.
suit.
You're supposed
You
to
look.
on the right triggers.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
As far as you can tell, there is a single route that you could take, and it really is along this wall. You could wait for him to turn his back. He does turn for a good amount of time, sort of random. You can't predict the timing, but you could sneak up on him. Could you sneak around him? That would be tough.
if he's standing in such a way, if we were to push him that like off his platform, that would be a very obvious disturbance, right? Because he'd fall down into like where,
So pushing him in one direction, he'll fall 18 feet down into the Avenue of Everdusk.
right? Where
There's currently like a crowd. People are like, going about their business. If you pushed him in the other direction, you look down over the other side of the wall. Here, it's closer to a 70-foot fall. And you can see still dark in that distance, but this is, again, an area where perhaps at one point maybe a support column ran through here. You can still see edges of rusted metal around the side, but you can see maybe like a floor beneath in this in particular area. You could push him down that, and that will certainly be less of a distraction, more of a fatal fall.
Is there a roof over him?
I mean, you guys are within the city, and this being the walled city, which is very much all internal, there's a roof over everything, technically.
How far away is he?
From you guys at the moment, probably about 80 feet.
Okay. So, are we gonna just try to push him off?
Can someone get over there and
I have a way to just do it from here. I've been figuring some stuff out about. I could try that. I'm untested as of now, but
Jade is like, chop him.
The James Bond.
probably?
Climb up to the roof above him and then swing down and kick him out.
Oh hell yeah!
how strong does this guy's constitution look?
How are you determining that? Tell me. I mean, there's rules.
Does he look like
Make a perception
stern?
check if you're
Is he
making a
bulky? Is he like,
Make a perception check.
or is he kind of like
bulky.
Is he like Oakfeld? Just kind of like, well, I'm on guard duty.
Make a perception check.
That's cocked.
That's what
Between a
Oakville
2
always
and a
is. He's
20.
always on guard duty, but always lackadaisical.
Ooh. 16 plus something good. It's a 23.
So looking at him, he's sporting scale mail, so definitely not like super delicate as this individual. That's heavy. They're an elf. And one thing that you do know about elves, they're not typically as sturdy as, say, a Goliath. You are an elf. And for you, you were
sturdy.
You were pretty heavily bullied growing up, and you developed that sturdiness as a result. That being said, kind of hard to tell. Most elves pretty resistant to being charmed, but in terms of their physical constitution, they look healthy enough.
All right. I think I'm going to try to hit him with the old vortex warp.
Oh,
Vortex warp.
the old vortex.
I have to look that up.
I can.
Yeah.
You magically twist space around another creature you can see within range, 90 feet. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw,
this
or they
is
can choose to
succeed.
fail,
That's-
or the target is teleported to an
that's a
unoccupied
new one.
space. Oh crap! Never mind. Can't do it. The chosen space must be on a surface or in a liquid that can support the target without the target having to squeeze. Not on a surface, because I would be trying to put him over the edge.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Never mind.
So,
Thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Couldn't do it though.
What, like the book?
What?
The book? The teleporting book?
The book, the Misty Step book, or not Misty Step, the little red book that you used on yourself.
Oh, it disappeared, right?
No, you
No.
don't.
Oh, I still have it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a single use.
no.
Oh,
You dropped it because you targeted yourself, but
Right.
it still exists.
right,
Yes.
You
right.
can target someone
call.
else and then they can target this person off the edge.
Or I could target myself, teleport to him, and then just push him, right?
Yeah, but you dropped the book again.
Right. Could I target him and just have him teleport? No, because then he
'Cause
chooses
then he
where
can
he
choose
teleports.
somebody else.
Okay.
No, I think you should do it.
I'm gonna teleport Shay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take out this little red book. No problem. You take out this little red book, and as you open it up, you feel again this overwhelming sense that your eyes need to look upon somebody. You turn and look at Shay, and Shay, you've had this experience before. You have this sensation of your entire being realigning, and the idea that you can move somewhere. Where are you going?
Within range to put him as my target
Okay,
for the
no
other
problem.
one, and then like in a spot where it's not obvious that I'm reappearing.
No problem. You take like a 10-foot leap and then instantly disappear and reappear almost 40 more feet down the line on this wall. That 10 feet being what you need to make up the distance. And as you get there, you feel the sensation that you must look upon somebody, and you turn. Give me 1 second. Let me double check the text on this. All right, Storm. Show me your secrets.
Book of teleporting. I totally forgot that I had that still. I thought it was like I used it and it was just like, oh,
Well, you said that.
yeah,
that
I know,
time.
and I still forgot.
And I thought we told you that it wasn't.
You did, and I still forgot. It's been a week, but I forgot.
No, it's, we're all there.
So, all of a sudden, he does get a save on this.
But does he also get a save on Shay just pushing him?
All of a sudden, you see this person look up, just almost sensing this like movement. And as he turns, you look at him. There's this moment where you see just the blue of his eyes. This elf's like beautiful sky blue eyes. And they go wide. You see the pupil dilate, and then the pupil almost just vanishes as the whole being disappears. Give me 1 second. I need to figure out how this is going to work.
We're fighting on the eaves, guys.
What direction is he going to teleport himself to?
So, all of a sudden,
Just do it.
10 feet away from the rest of you on the eaves, this guard reappears. You can see he almost drops the crossbow, kind of cradles it, and just looks around and goes, "What the fuck?" Turns around and sees all of you just on the eve. You can see he takes the crossbow.
Swarm him! Swarm him!
Are you guys swarming him?
I want the.
Fly over and grab him. Like,
I want all of the Goliaths to like.
You can't see the guy.
Oh right, they're not with us anymore. Damn.
We are now the distraction from the Goliath.
So, as this is
Can
happening,
I use another charge of the book on him?
the book will, I gotta look up the book. Give me 1 second. I think you can only use it once a day.
That feels
is it
like
once
a
a
once a
day?
day kind of ability.
Okay.
Yeah. So we look
Vortex warp back over to the other platform where Shay is, so she can push him.
Once a day.
Yeah, back over to the. I'm gonna push him.
You don't ask us to.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm
All I had to do
vortex warping him
just
back.
push him.
I put out my arm
No,
and
this is
like
good.
try
We're
to
gonna
push him.
disorient him.
And it,
Okay.
vortex warp.
So, you hold out your arm, you try to push him. He has a save against that.
Yes, Constitution save.
No worries.
That is going to be a 17.
18.
So, all of a sudden, he is pushed, and you see just this individual screech along. The metal of their gauntlets
Oh,
and their boots.
he teleports.
Oh, it's a teleport.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a vortex.
No,
you actually
he
push.
teleports. Yeah, he just teleports.
This is a spell I don't know that well because it's from Strixhaven.
Here, I can.
So you magically twist space around another creature you can see within range. Constitution save. Teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice. Okay, no problem. All of a sudden, directly back to where he was, still facing you, still with this crossbow in hand.
Already moving to get up above him to swing down and kick him out.
Make an attack. roll. Okay, we'll see if we need to make an initiative roll. That's fantastic. I love that.
29.
29. Instead of rolling for damage, make an athletics check. Make that an advantage. That's pretty good. Oh, I love
The
this.
strangest beanie.
I can't math. 24.
He just went. Boop.
24.
in retrospect, the first boof not totally
Roll
necessary,
a
but
17.
very.
So, as he skids, you can see he pulls the crossbow up. As he turns his head to start calling and he begins to depress the trigger, Shay, excuse me, you come flying off the ceiling and drop kick him off. There's this brief whoop, and he just goes end over end, clang, 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 down into the darkness. Give me 1 sec.
We are monsters. Are we the
And
baddies?
beneath you, 18 feet below, you look over the other side, business as usual. You see a few people kind of look around, hearing like a little bit of a commotion. You see down the alley, wow, this cat like run from between trash barrels. They just kind of are like, oh, okay, continue to move. But with a general perception check of 6 from this crowd, you sit there for a moment, looking around, like billowing
Skyrim
white.
squat.
Yeah, white garments. The paper lanterns, the color catches the garments, and they kind of form almost like the like a canvas for those colors, and you blend into the stone quite well. One by one, if you wish, you can cross the distance to catch up with this platform.
Incredible.
Fly
Let's
across.
do it.
You make your way across, and looking as you get closer, you see the Jade Exchange proper. This beautiful pagoda-style building rising up 4 stories. You can see the second story, which the wall does wrap around the exterior and eventually draw quite close to. You would be landing on the northern wall, into the corner window, the northwestern corner. The western entire wall, most of it, of the building is a porch, very much styled after like the Mulan temple. You can see roughly 10 members of the Jade Centurion, all with longbows. Aligned on that porch. Nobody paying a special attention. You can see mostly sitting, talking. Most have like the bows leaning up on the wall next to them. There's a few pillars that support this overhang. But as you guys begin to consider, you see this watchtower and the second guard. Because it is 9:55, this is where we're going to end for the evening. So, thank you guys for sticking around, hanging out for Adventures in Alberon, session 107. We will be back next Friday with session 108. But if you want some more role-playing action in between, next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mosaic Team 5, Session 12, bounty hunting, star finding action. But until then, Tina, I believe you are signing us off.
Oh. Will we succeed? Find out next time.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye. And we're out.